Shouted out the mud, hustler's ambition. Started in a trap in the hood I was kicking. Made a few lefts, got myself hemmed up. Sirens in the dark, had no place to run up. I had nowhere to turn, living life so rough. Pocket full of pride, heart full of rust. Thank you, Father, for keeping me when I wasn't keeping myself. For real. You covered every secret I tried to hide from hell. By grace, by grace, by grace. Yeah, we saved through faith, not by work. Can't earn this way. It's a gift you gave. By grace, when I was lost, He called my name. Oh. Not by me, it's all His grace. All glory to the King. Yes, praying Mother, keep me lifted up when my life was a mess. Hands raised in that little church while I'm outside chasing a check. Thought the gang gon' give me worth, almost lost my breath. Devil tried to sell my soul, Jesus paid that debt. Now I'm back in the same hood, talking about the King of Kings. Same block, but a change, my chain broke. Now I'm finally free. By grace, by grace. Yeah, we saved through faith, not by word, can't earn this way. It's a gift you gave. By grace, when I was lost, He called my name. Not by me, it's all His grace. All glory to the King He saved. I was stuck in that cycle, round and round, same pain. Yeah. Then your word hit my heart, wash me clean like rain. I can't flex on mercy, I can't stun on love. All I got is gratitude, hands up, eyes up above. By grace, yeah, we saved through faith, not by word, can't earn this way. It's a gift you gave. By grace, when I was lost, He called my name. Not by me, it's all His grace. All glory to the King He saved. By grace, yeah, we saved through faith. Yeah, we saved. Every breath that I take, I say, it's by grace. By grace. Yeah, we saved through faith. Yeah, we saved through faith.
Today's show was over 4 hours, so I know it feels like we just left and we're back already, but we're back again. So grace and peace to each and every one of you guys on this fine Friday morning. Shout out to you guys, man. Thank you guys so much. Let's do a city and state check if we could. Let me know where you are tuning in and watching the broadcast. Thank you guys so much for pulling out and hanging out with us this morning. Today's show, I promise you, will not be 4 hours. You can count on that. I promise you that much. We have a heck of a show, a lot to get into today. Let me introduce my folks. We have the usual prospects in the building. Celeste from Celeste_Duffy. We have Crystal from Crystal Beyond Labels. We have my brother Minister Denzel in the building from Probe Analysis. And we also have my brother AT in the building from the Garden Project Radio. I'm sure plenty of you, I'm sure a multitude of you guys are coming over from him. You know, he's up at the crack of dawn. I don't know how he does it. I couldn't do it. But shout out to him. Appreciate him pulling up. And I got to show some love to my folks in the chat real quick. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button for me. Hit the like button. Super chat, super thanks are greatly appreciated. Shout out to you guys that support the channel via Cash App and Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you guys so much. Before we get things started, we do have the verse of the day. Shout out to my brother Hunter, always coming through. Today's verse is out of Peter, and it says, therefore, hold up, before I go there, let me pull him up real quick. There we go. There we go. So today's verse is out of Peter, and it says, therefore, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether to the king as supreme or to governors as to those who are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and for the praise of those who do good. That is 2 Peter, or I'm sorry, 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 13 and 14. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to my brother Jeff coming in with the $111 super chat. Shout out to him, man. Thank you so much, man. He says, stay prayed up, stay blessed, and peace be with you and your spirit, man. Appreciate you, brother Jeff. Thank you so much, man. If you guys are not subscribed to It's Not Your Fault Al-Anon Recovery channel, please make sure you go over and check him out. He's doing great work. He actually does a lot of just good work out in the community, helping families who are dealing with either loved ones that are suffering from, some form of, addiction, drug addiction. He also helps with those that are dealing with the family members, because a lot of times people, you got the actual individual that's going through it, that's suffering, but the family also suffers as well. And a lot of times, these folks, they're enablers and things of that nature. They give money when they know they shouldn't, so forth and so on. So he helps and supports those people as well. And Jeff, good dude, man. Really, really good dude. God bless you, brother. Let me show some love to my folks in the chat. Look at that. First person I see, Papa died. What's going on, man? How you doing today? What's up, Nanny? How you doing? What's up, Lewis? How's it going, man? Deb. And shout out to Betty Mercado. I did see you yesterday. She said she received her card. Shout out to her. Man, you got that Starbucks card. So hopefully, you don't spend it all at one time. Shout out to Jim. It's good to see you. What's up, Marla? Deb Longo. What up, LJ? It's good to see you guys in the chat. Thank you guys so much. What's up, B? Sugar Shane is in the building. Cincinnati in the house. Shout out to you guys as well. Thank you guys so much for pulling up. If you have not done so already, please make sure you hit that like button. Hit the like button for me. And, if you want to go the extra mile, you guys know what to do. Shout out to Billy W. Thank you guys for pulling up. What's up, Karen? It's good to see you. What's up, Dion? I don't think I've seen you in the chat. No, you was here. You was here the other day. I did see you. What's up, Dion? How you doing? How's the new gig? Let me hold something. Hit the collection plate, okay? I know you're out there in St. Louis making all that daggone money. I know that. Am I still muted? Don't tell me I'm muted. No, I'm good. Okay. I was about to say, hold up now. Yeah, I know there were some challenges starting out. All right, cool. Let me see who else. Did I miss anybody? I'm sure I did, but appreciate you guys pulling up. What's up, DeKelch? How's it going? $5 super chat says, ordered my God is the creator hat on my God is the creator hat on Wednesday. Love y'all. God bless and peace be the journey. Coming out of Jackson, Tennessee. Yeah, I like that hat too, man. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of that one, man. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you supporting the channel. And, if you guys would like to support, you can also go over to the ARP Family Merch Store. All right, go over to the ARP Family Merch Store. Get you a hat, get you a hoodie, get you a T-shirt. I guess we're getting into T-shirt season. So I guess, hey, go get you a T-shirt. It's definitely pollen season, and it's been whooping my tail. So let me pull my folks up, and we'll get things started. Give me 1 second here. What's up, Minister Danzel? How you doing this morning, brother?
I am doing great. I am blessed and highly favored. A wonderful blessing to be on ARP in the morning on Friday. We're looking forward to a great day.
Yeah. Well, it's always a great day, man. Every day that,
right.
The good Lord gives us the opportunity to open his eyes up and continue to, suck on this air that he's bestowed upon us. Hey, it's a great day. It is a great day.
That's right. And listen, you help with that music, man. I'm telling you, you help with that music.
That's good. What's up, Crystal? How you doing this morning, sister?
Good morning, family. Happy Friday. Nice to see you
Friday.
all. I'm
Amen.
excited because today is Gutter Bunny of the Week, and I am ready. Okay.
Uh-oh. I'm wondering who got, I think I got a good guess of who gets going to get Gutter Bunny of the Week today. I got a good guess. What's up, AT? How you doing this morning, brother?
Hey, good morning, brothers, sister with the jean jacket. It's nice to see both of y'all. Always a blessed day. Very happy to be here. Look, we do 4 hours if we do 2. Any amount of time we have up here talking about important things and about Christ, this time well spent.
Amen.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yesterday was good. It was a marathon show, though. Show. Goodness gracious.
I made it to the
Marathon
bathroom.
show.
I made it to the bathroom, though.
I love our sister with the cup, man.
Celeste just said, I'm out. She didn't even say bye.
She didn't come back. She didn't say bye.
Deuces, nothing. Just gone.
I put in the chat that I had to jump. I had to take my brother to an important doctor's appointment.
She did.
Yes, my
So that's
sister.
why.
Okay.
But following
Okay.
Crystal's lead, I'm gonna go. Ask me anything.
I like that. I like that. Well, appreciate you guys pulling up, man. Today is Friday, so you know, we got to start the show off properly because today is Friday. Today is Friday. And I'm glad that AT decided to come and hang out with us, this morning.
Lord.
So we want to make sure that we give him his proper dosage of pink pants.
Hey, 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 hey. Foul, 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 foul. Hey, 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 hey.
I want to be mad, but my goodness, the man commits. He really does.
He did commit. You're right.
He really did.
He truly.
Oh man, can we get him on the show, man?
Oh man. The chat loves it. The chat loves it.
Yep.
I love how Jesse said, I know he didn't. This early in the show, yes, Jesse. That's exactly what they do.
Hey, we got to get this Friday. We
It is
could not
Friday.
do it at all last week. So I had to make sure that we got to squeeze it in this week. Last week was Holy Week, so we wanted to be respectful.
Amen.
This week, we
It
can
is good
open
to
up some of the
see somebody
shenanigans.
living in their purpose. He looked like he was born to do that. And nothing else. Just that.
Now, come on now, Nanny. She said it's getting old. Come on now. It's not getting old. It's not getting old. Not yet. Not yet. It's not even. It's
They
a
should
couple of
find
weeks.
some more. People should send them to you. If they have anything that they think
What are you
will
doing?
embarrass
are you
AT,
doing?
they should
What are you
send
doing?
it in.
What are you doing right now?
I'm putting it out
Okay,
there.
Celeste, I got it. We're starting off this
Putting
way.
it out there. If y'all got anything,
TikTok got a lot of them. We got you. TikTok got a lot of them.
Crystal, you better not.
What did you
Thank
do,
you, Dad.
AT?
Thank you, Dad. Look at that.
I do anything,
Hey.
Listen,
Not getting old.
wait, hold on. And I filed yesterday, and I'm happy it's done.
See, look at that. Guy somewhere said, nope, not yet. Not yet. It's not old yet. Not yet. Not yet. Come on now.
He's gonna
But
be a
if you guys
customer.
have anything, please send it my way. Shoot me a
That's
message.
right.
Shoot me a message. I'd be happy to play it. Now, AT might
I'm not
not
sure I like
like
this.
you.
I'm not sure I like this arrangement right now.
AT might block you from the Garden Project in the morning. He's like, oh, it was you. It was you.
Good possibility.
I'll get ready to say
Well,
I'll get ready to say AT is a customer of the Garden Project now.
Wise,
Yeah.
LJ said, don't forget the lit church service that she sent you. That would be another good one for AT.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
I gotta cue that up. I'll have that ready for
I don't
next
like the
week.
way that sounds. I'll be honest with you.
Ah,
Wow.
I gotta cue that up. We might cue that one up for later today. We
Yes.
may be ready because that one I saw that. I'm like, Lord have mercy. What are we doing?
Yeah, I
What
haven't
are
seen
we
that. You
doing?
need to share that with people.
Yes.
I'll admit I'm curious, but also concerned.
AT is tough, man. AT is tough.
And,
I can
and
take
you
it.
should be. You should be. Mhm.
I tell you, man. I tell you, sometimes, man, it just makes you wonder. Some of these folks, man.
Mhm.
Some of these people out here.
They need Christ more than
They're
ever.
living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I want
yeah.
to set out for us for sure.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to Alley Cat coming through, $2 super chat, says happy Friday, Wise, Crystal, Celeste, Danzel, and AT. Shout out to you, Alley Cat. Appreciate you. All right, let's get the show started. I ran across this clip yesterday, and I want to give Minister Danzel and AT the first word, on this once this this pastor tells this story, of a man who finally decided to go to church. And he tells a story of what happened when he finally made that decision to go. And I just thought it was powerful, man. I thought it was a great story and a good way to start the show off and start the weekend off. So I want to play this for you guys. And Minister Danzel, we'll give you the first word when we come back.
Okay, sir.
Story once of a man who was in church, and I'm about to sit down. He was in church, and his wife would beg him, baby, you need to go to church. I'm tired of you not going to church. She went every Sunday. She was a good Christian, Pastor Pilot. She went every Sunday. And her husband wasn't no heathen, but he didn't really go to church like that. And she stayed on. So finally, he started going. His second Sunday going, he was in church. He forgot to turn his ringer off. And his phone just going off. His phone deep in his pocket, Pastor Pilot. He trying, and everybody just looking at him. He trying to get it to stop ringing. Everybody just looking at him. And he trying, everybody just looking at him. He felt so embarrassed. After church, two people came up to him and say, you don't know how to turn your phone off? Him and his wife were sitting together on the pew. When the phone started going off, she inched over a little bit to separate herself. The pastor greets everybody as they leave the church and tell them to have a good week. And he said to him, brother, come on now, in the middle of my sermon? He felt so embarrassed and ashamed. Nobody showed him love. Everybody ridiculed him. Later that night, he went to the bar to watch the game and get something to drink. He's at the bar and he got a beer and he drank his beer and he watching the game. He asked the bartender for another beer, but when the bartender handed it to him, the beer dropped out of his hand and shattered all over the ground. Beer got on a woman next to him and her boyfriend. The man jumped up and got in his face and said, hey, bro, you good. We all make mistakes, man. Calm down. The man hugged him and loved on him. He said, man, I ain't mean to do that. He said, bro, we all make mistakes, man. Relax. A waitress came with a broom. He said, let me sweep it. She said, no, you chill. We got this. Another waitress came with a mop and mopped it up. The bartender said, hey, man, we all make mistakes, man. You good. The gentleman that got in his face massaged his shoulders and said, hey, man, all the drinks on me for the rest of the night. He said, y'all give it up for my boy. The entire bar applauded this man, hugged this man, and said, hey, bro, we all make mistakes. That man became a frequent visitor to that bar. And he never went back to the church because the bar showed him love.
Excellent. I'll give you the first word. What are your thoughts?
Well, this is one of my biggest problems with people who profess to be Christians today is that they don't understand that title comes with a high level accountability. And that primary accountability is to be the light that God calls you to be. Let your light so shine before the world, Jesus said, that men might see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. That's what Jesus said. And all of the epistles, you find the constant badgering of why we as believers must be what God called us to be and not just talk about it. James 1:22 says, but be ye doers of the word and not just hearers only. In Revelations, the first and second chapter of Revelation, Jesus says this 7 times. Let him that has an ear hear what the Spirit says to the church. My problem is that, and I love that story. That's an excellent story about why God, man, he doesn't ask us, he demands that we be the best Christians we can be, and at all times. The consistency is necessary because for that very same reason, because you don't know when someone's going to be watching you. You don't know when someone's going to need you to be the God that the Christian that they called you to be at the time that they need you. So I love that story, and I'm telling you, this is the kind of thing that motivates me. That's why all the years I've been saved, I have never had anybody come to me and say, Minister Monk, you were never what you called to be. You were never what you said you were. All of my friends, and I've asked them from time to time, have you ever seen me change? And they all say no. That's what I strive for, because it only takes one time for you to mess up, screw up in front of somebody, and destroy their life. So I love that message, brother Wise. I appreciate it, and I hope that Christians take that message seriously. I hope it goes viral.
Get in there, AT. What are your thoughts, bro?
The greatest single cause of atheism in the world today is Christians who acknowledge Jesus with their lips and walk out the door and deny him by their lifestyle. That is something that has been going on for decades. And we hear it and we know it. And we're like, oh, yeah, cool. I'm just not going to be one of those believers while doing nothing about the actual church or the body of Christ around us. I remember when I was in Alabama for flight school, 2011, I went to a church. It was the last time I would go to church for over a decade. I went to this church with my wife at the time, and they did the part where you stand up if you're new. And so I stood up. It was Alabama. It was like 5,000 degrees. And so I had a t-shirt on. And I have a tattoo on my arm I got when I was like 18, 19 years old, fresh out of Iraq. Don't love the tattoo. Wish I'd never gotten it, of course, but we can't go back there. And as I sat back down, one of the elder ladies in the church stood up and went on I'm not even kidding, 15-minute rant about young people and their tattoos and coming into church with tattoos. I had never been to this church before a day in my life. This was actually, and they didn't know this. They didn't know I was ashamed of my tattoo. They didn't know that this was me making a last-ditch effort to align with my faith because I hadn't gone to church in a long time. I felt called to go, and it was the only church I knew was available around me. And I felt so bad. I had to sit there the rest of the church service feeling like everyone was staring at me, looking at me. They did the whole thing. Pastor didn't even say hi to me on the way out the church. And so I didn't go back to church for a decade. That's on me. I don't blame them for that, but I have to look at the behavior that comes with it. I love that you showed this in the first part about it, because how is this not applicable to every single Christian that we come across? Somebody else will be nice to that person. Somebody else will give to that person. Somebody else will donate their time. Someone else will talk to that person who looks sick. Someone else will deal with it. I'm just here for me and my family's salvation, and that's really it. We have gone so far away from Scripture that we're so quick to pat ourselves in the back whenever we get something right. We're so quick to be proud of ourselves whenever we correct someone that's wrong. We went to church today. We feel empowered. We feel so good about it. And yet when the time comes when there's a soul that's in need, we don't even identify it because we're so busy patting ourselves on the back. I hope that this message gets around to a lot of individuals, because you can read your Bible. Congratulations. You can pray. Congratulations. Like we just got done talking about in the show, whether the most ignored scripture, James chapter 1, verse 22, right? Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. And it's the hard things that we as believers don't want to do. For the show we have in the morning, I had someone ask me, AT, why do you repeat yourself every single morning? I don't mind, but why do you repeat yourself and remind individuals that we don't curse here? There is no hate speech. There's no distractions. And when someone comes into this space, I don't care if they come in with a Satanistic name on their username. We always welcome them. We greet them. We ask them about their day. If they have a disagreement, by all means, but we do so with kindness, because you have to remember, you might be the first example of Christ that someone has ever had in their entire life. And if you ignore them, if you just shoot them down because they say something crazy, I don't know your background. You may actually genuinely believe that Jesus is related to Satan. I've heard that before. But if I just immediately attack you, you're never going to come back here. I love this. Why? I've never had somebody break this down. Why is it that men don't show up to church? I have so many wives ask me, I want my husband to come. I want my husband to come. I ask him every single week, and he just won't show up. He won't show up because he's treated better at the golf course, because he's treated better when he's around his friends. My husband doesn't want to come home. I had this video of a guy, I should have sent it to you, he was asleep in his car when he got out of work. And his wife came out like, why are you sleeping in here and not inside? He's like, I can't get any rest in there. Well, I'm going to come in here with you then, right? You got to look at the environment and not your own selfish desire. You may want your husband to be there. You may want your friend to go to church. You may want them to be around. Put yourself in their shoes. Show up to a church one day and pretend like you don't know anything and see how you're treated. And then maybe your technique is going to shift a little bit from being sanctimonious and holier than thou to trying to shape your community around you and actually taking the hard action. I appreciate it, Waz.
No, you're absolutely right, AT. I have a story, and I don't want to go down the church hurt stories, but what I heard, when I listened to that yesterday, what I heard was we got to lead with empathy rather than judgment. And there's so many people ready to judge.
That's right.
It reminds me of Stephen's story when he was talking about he went to church loaded, high, and he had the flask of whiskey. Had people not showed him love there, they would have missed out an opportunity to save that man.
That's right.
Had the people just said, you know what, he doesn't know any better, let me embrace him, opposed to say, this dude reeks, he smells like alcohol.
Yeah.
Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? And there's just so many of us out there that like you said, AT, we feel like we check the box, and it's almost like we're walking around like we're Pharisees or Sadducees, like we're just better than and holier than thou because we check more boxes than you do.
That's right.
And that's not what we're supposed to do. Celeste, I'll give you the next word. What are your thoughts?
Every building that has a cross on it is not a church. Some of these places are actually synagogues for Satan. And you should believe that if you are a real Christian, a real person seeking the wisdom and the Spirit of God and trying to direct your life and have God to order your steps, there will be people in that midst who are going to come there specifically to mess up, disturb, and confuse that plan. So there's always going to be somebody complaining where the people of God gather. There's always going to be somebody trying to undermine what is trying to be done where the people of God gather. Whenever people of God are trying to do something, you should know there are always going to be some around there who are not really the people of God, who will try to be in the midst so that they can confuse and disrupt what you're trying to do and disturb your blessing.
Get in there, Crystal. What are your thoughts?
I was going to say, because I always say this, and AT said it too, which is sometimes you have to remember we are the only Christ, not just the first, but we are the only Christ people will see and hear. I actually put it in the chat to my sister that I was going to share this very quick with everyone. It's tough to see men go through that. And I have gone through that. And the people who have been in my Bible study know that I would not be sitting here talking about Christ if it was not for my grandmother and my aunt and my mother and my father and my sister holding me up. Because when I came back to Christ, I was out in the world. I had my wardrobe looked like I was out in the world, period. And I went to church and I got saved. Me and two friends got saved. It's all females. We all got saved, went to the altar. We were all tears running down our eyes. We were excited. So excited, we started getting involved. I decided to join the choir. So I'm in the choir, I'm singing, I'm having a great time. Listen, my fashion is always going to be my fashion. I love 5 3/4 inch heels, and that's what I wore. And I remember one day as I'm heading up to the pulpit to get ready to sing, the women in the church are sitting down there. They're like, you see, that's why they shouldn't let prostitutes in here. Ooh. And they didn't whisper it. They said it in my hearing area. And I was just like, and so I went through song service and I was cool. I was like, let me not let this get to me. Let me not let this get to me. My aunt and my cousin was in the choir. And I remember after the service, I came down and we had to go to the back to practice. And I told them, I was like, at the end of practice, I said, you know what is so disgusting about all of you? I said, you have no idea about anybody's life. And for the fact that y'all sat down here, instead of being Christ-like and say, what can we do? We don't know if this is all she has in her wardrobe. Y'all never said, let us be the wise woman like the Bible says to be and show the young ones how they should dress, how they should move, how anything. You didn't say that. You decided to tear me down. I said, and people like you run people out the church. I said, because the world's arm is always open to us. The world's arm will always embrace us while you're sitting here tearing us down. My cousin and my auntie went off on them. And then my auntie ended up showing up to church the next week in 5 3/4 inch heels because she wanted them to say something to her as she was in the choir as well. But I remember my grandmother, my auntie, and my mom, all of them, they said, don't give up. Because I had just got back. I'm in my 20s. I'm grown. They can't force me to church. They said, don't give up. Because at the end of the day, you have to remember in the church building, there are Christians and there are churchgoers. You have to learn the difference because there are people who attend church because it's a ritual. They're checking off the box, but there are actual Christians in there. So do not let them discourage you. And I was like, okay, I won't let them discourage me. And then they said to me, just because you got one bad experience there, you get bad experiences at the bar, at the club, at your job. You don't give up on that. Don't give up on God because it wasn't God that hurt you. It's the people who claim God, but learn the difference between churchgoers and Christians. And I didn't give up. So that is why I'm still sitting here and I did not turn my back on God because of that. But the two other friends, they left because people turned on them. So they ended up leaving the church.
Crystal, you remind me of something as you say that, because we dealt with this a lot, especially last year, with individuals who have in their mind this image of what a Christian is supposed to look like. And there's individuals in this country. You have young women who have the shawl over their head, and if to them that's what a Christian looks like. And I know there's a line between sexual immorality. If you walk out and you have all your bits showing, that's obviously, I think we all would agree, not appropriate. But the issue is, I always call this the kind of day you're having. So everyone knows this. You went out to a restaurant at some point in time, you order some food, and they bring out the food and it's not what you expected. It's what you ordered, but maybe it's not as hot, not as cold, wrong seasoning, whatever. And I'm not the kind of person that makes us think about that. And so someone would ask me why, right? You ordered it, you're paying for it. Well, I don't prioritize my money over someone's life. I have no idea what kind of day that server is having, that cook is having, right? For all I know, they lost their kid yesterday and they still had to show up to work. That's something that happens to people, right? They lost their a family member who's not so immediate that they get immediate time off. That was a military one, why, as you remember, right? You get a Red Cross message for your mom passes away. Your aunt, tough luck, be sad, right? Send a letter and that's it. And so instead of arguing, or like this situation, someone comes into the church, the pastor who pretended to be homeless outside the church to see what his congregation would do. Again, I have no idea what kind of day you're having. It's not that I wouldn't say something to you. If I had a congregation, you walking with the blue hair, the piercings all over from top to bottom, and you're wearing basically one-ply toilet paper to come in there and worship, well, I'm going to talk to you, but I'm going to love you all the same, right? Because the clothes that you wear, it's not going to be a requirement to get into heaven. It's the posture of your heart, which I can understand a little bit by your clothes, sure. But when I say something like this, I throw ink onto my faith, right? I throw all kinds of dirt and slime all over this church, because best case scenario, what do you expect to happen? Oh my gosh, they called me a prostitute. I want to come back here. Yes, this is my home. Who doesn't want to show up somewhere where you're called a prostitute? That's great, right? That's what I want on a Sunday to start off my week. Thank you for that. As opposed to, hey, sweetheart, can we talk to you for a second? I just noticed that you were wearing, I don't know anything about heels. You're short, I know that. So you're a little bit taller because you got big heels. Fine, right? Can I ask why? Before I say we don't do that, right? Tell me about your style. Tell me where you come from. Did they even know your name before judging you? And that's to Minister Danzel's point, that is the issue that I have. By all means, if you feel like you have to have judgment on someone, Scripture tells us how to do that. But before you go up to someone and say, hey, you're wrong, shame on you, you're going to burn forever, can I get your name first? Can I hear a little bit about your story, where you're from? What got you to this point? Are you seeking or have you fallen away, right? Are you just here because someone dragged you here, or does something move you to be here? Because if I don't know anything about you and I just immediately come guns blazing at you, I'm doing it for the optics. I'm doing it for the gram. I'm doing it to get some likes, some applause, some subscribers, or whatever it is that my currency is for my salvation. I don't actually care about you. Go ahead, Minister.
I got to close this out with the scripture in Matthew 25. I think that they should all read this. There, he tells you who the kind of people that he's going to allow into his kingdom he's going to greet. And he says that when he says welcomes them, he says, thank you, because when I was naked, you clothed me. When I was in prison, you visited me. When I was hungry, you fed me. And when I was a stranger, you took me in. And they said to him, he said, they're going to say to me, when did we do that to you, Lord? He said, when you do it to the least of mine, you've done it unto me. And believers need to understand that. You see, you can talk all you want to about how much you love Jesus. How you treat people is how you prove how you love him. Yeah. And Matthew 5:20 says that except your righteousness exceeds that of the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you ain't getting in. So your actions cannot be based upon your desire to be seen or to be aggrandized or to be talked about and have patted back, but it has to be pure heart. You don't have to be perfect, but your motive have to be perfect. And I thank you for that. That's that on my video.
Absolutely. Likewise.
Yes, thank you for that reminder. And I just want people to remember that Jesus came for the sick, not the holier than thou. He came for the sick. And people seem to forget that. So when people are coming into the church for the first time, they are broken. They are lost. They've sensed that they need something. And like I said, the fact that so many people turn away people. That's why if someone comes into the church and they're part of the alphabet community, people are like, Crystal, why do you embrace them? You talk about it, but you embrace them so much because they need love. and they're searching. And our job is to show them Christ, not to tear them down, not to make them feel like God don't want you in here. You stepped in here, you're about to burn in hell. No, that's not what we're supposed to embrace them. So I embrace them, and I just try to show them who Christ is and let Christ do the work. I am sowing the seeds. So I'm going to show you the love. And then God will do everything else. He will send someone else to water it. And that is what we are all called to do in all walks. Doesn't matter, alphabet, someone that's substance, someone who been out in the world. That is what God has called us to do.
Absolutely. Well, we need the mothers and the elders to step up. I know the mothers don't believe that they're mothers anymore. They're 70 years old, don't believe that they're the mothers. Like, nah, ma'am, you are a mother in the church now. You know, we need the elders, you know, that you may still see yourself as that young 25, 30-year-old strapping brother, but nah, you're an elder now, you know, and we need those people to step up in their rightful places in the church. And Elder Travis, I think, said this last week, and I wish I would have had him on. I forgot to reach out to him yesterday, but he had mentioned something along the lines that when people come to his church, you know, he wants to give you that Chick-fil-A service. You know, we want to know, you know, who you are, why you pulled up. We want to make sure that we get a chance to speak to you before you leave, so forth and so on, which I think is important. I mean, if you're really out here to help people and really out here to save souls, your first inclination shouldn't be to judge. You know, it should be to, you know, ask some questions. Ask some questions first.
Yep.
But I thought that was powerful, man. So I was like, you know what? We got to start to show off, you know, with this. I thought it was powerful.
Right. I'm happy that you did, especially after yesterday.
It was good.
Yeah. So shout out to Carla Sue coming through. Been a member for 4 months. Thank you, Crystal, ARP, and panel. Bless you all. Shout out to you, Carla Sue. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thank you to Love Summed Up with a $20 super sticker. Appreciate you. Thank you, Marla, for coming through. $10 super chat says, I'm a lector at church. What's a lector? I'm not familiar with
I think she comes up and speaks, gives more of a lecture than a sermon, but she's not the pastor, but like a guest speaker.
Got you. Okay. I'm a lector at my church, and I'm very careful in public. Ever since I was in Walgreens and a little boy pointed at me and said, look, Mom, it's the lady from church. Yeah. You never know who's out there in the world watching. Yeah, that's the truth. Shout out to Philip coming through, joining the ARP family. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And shout out to Philip once again with a $50 super sticker. Appreciate you, Philip. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Philip.
Very much. And shout out to Billy W coming through, gifting 20 ARP family memberships, man. Shout out to you, Billy. Thank you so much. God bless you, sister. If you received one of those, please make sure you show Billy some love in the chat, please. Make sure you show her some love. We'll be right back with Ask Me Anything.
Ask me anything. Ask me anything.
Welcome back to Ask Me Anything. This week's Ask Me Anything comes from Gary Lewis, who sent me a post of a response on his Instagram account. And he was responding to Al Sharpton's suggestion that Black Americans should not celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States because we were slaves. But in his post, he asked a central question. And the question Gary Lewis asked was, am I an American? And I thought about that and I thought, well, you know what? This is something we should look into a little more. So I thought that question was asked and answered in Langston Hughes's 1925 poem, I Too Sing America. But I guess that was before the secular progressives and liberal elites decided to march through the institutions, sowing the seeds of doubt and grievance. But in comparison, America only fails when compared against perfection. Wise talks about that quote all the time. If compared against any other nation to ever exist, America is indeed superior. So is the same true for Black Americans? When life for Black Americans is compared to Blacks living anywhere else, how do we fare? So I did a quick little look to try and get a understanding of what the life of Black Americans is in comparison to Blacks living other places. In short, Black Americans enjoy a higher average income, with Black Americans having a median household income of about 52,000, which exceeds sub-Saharan Africans, which have an average income of around 1,700 per capita. Superior educational attainment, with about 88% of Black Americans completing high school and 26% hold bachelor's degree, compared to that under 10% enrollment in much of African nations, and then even less than that, 10% in Latin American nations. Advanced healthcare access, life expectancy for Black Americans is around 72 years old, with 91% of Black Americans having insurance coverage. This is in comparison with life expectancy being around 60 to 65 in African nations. Political representation, Blacks hold about 10% of House seats in Congress, unlike many African nations which have parliaments, and usually those parliaments are dominated by ethnic voting blocks, not racial voting blocks. And strong entrepreneurial access, with Black owned businesses growing to 34% from 2017 to 2022, supported by loans and incubator initiatives. Additionally, even beyond that, Blacks dominate in culture and entertainment, influence, have greater national and international mobility, and a higher quality of life due to infrastructure, I mean, access to paved roads, bridges, highways. Travel is accessible to Blacks here. So then the question is, if Blacks are doing that well, why do so many Black Americans do better in a country where they believe, in a country that they believe is plagued by racism, than Blacks living in other countries where presumably there is no racism? And it is because America is not personal. America is a set of promises. And even as some Americans have not always kept the promise of America, we talk about that, it's mostly Democrats. Black Americans, like all Americans, have prevailed. And the reason they prevail and will continue to prevail is because America, like its promise, has never failed. This has been Ask Me Anything. Please send your question or request to me at askmeanything4547@gmail.com, and I will see you again next week.
I'm a poor person. Of course I carried before I married.
My name's Haley.
My name's Matthew, and we're pregnant.
What did he say?
I'm a poor person. Of course I went to college. I'm a poor person. Of course I buy depreciating assets.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'm a poor person. Of course I'm getting divorced. I'm officially I'm a poor person. Of course I don't raise my kids in the home with their father.
You are not.
I'm a poor person. Of course I don't restrain myself sexually. Duh.
And he'd be like, damn, I wish I had some head. I'd be like, yo, bro, I got you.
I'm a poor person. Of course I won't read The Ass Backers Way to Move Forward.
Alrighty. No, Celeste,
I love it.
I think you dipped out before Gary pulled up yesterday. Yeah, do you recall that, AT? Gary pulled up yesterday and asked the same question.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
He did.
Phenomenal.
He did. And I wanted to go a little bit more, but he also sent it to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
good.
Glad you answered it. That was awesome, man.
Mhm.
Great answer,
That was
Celeste.
awesome. You went
Yeah,
you went a little
it was.
deeper,
Yes, it
a little
was.
deeper than we did yesterday. So yeah, that was really cool.
Sure did.
Yeah, yeah. Alrighty. Shout out to Tiffany joining the ARP family. Thank you very much, Tiffany.
Tiffany.
Appreciate the support. Appreciate the support. All righty. Let's keep it moving. A liberal journalist, they are upset at this point because the FBI has arrested a Army veteran accused of leaking Delta Force intel. They're not upset about the leak, though. They're upset about the arrest. So when did protecting national security become a problem in this nation? I'm going to play this clip for you guys. Get your thoughts. AT, we'll give you the first word. It's one of your folks leaking information.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Army veteran with a top secret clearance has been charged by the Department of Justice with leaking classified information to a journalist. The DOJ says 40-year-old Courtney Williams of North Carolina was arrested by the FBI and was specifically charged with violating a provision of the Espionage Act. Williams worked in a special military unit in Fort Bragg and from 2022 to 2025 allegedly spoke with a journalist by phone and text providing classified national defense information. The journalists had identified themselves as such and told Williams they were writing an article and book. According to the DOJ, that book and article named Williams as a source, and some of the statements attributed to her included classified national defense information. The Associated Press reports that dates and details match a book and article written by Seth Harp, who was not named in the Department of Justice's press release. The book, called The Fort Bragg Cartel, details sexual harassment and discrimination. Hart made a statement to WRAL-TV calling Williams a, quote, brave whistleblower and truth teller. He also said, quote, former Delta Force operators disclose national defense information on podcasts and YouTube shows every day. But the government is going after Courtney for the sole reason that she exposed sexual harassment and gender discrimination in the unit. Harp called it an act of retaliation. The Department of Justice also noted that Williams had shared national defense information on her social media.
Okay, I need everyone's help. I don't even know how to get this out there, but I really need somebody to help. I have a friend of mine. We served in the Army years ago. She was in a book, right, where she talked about the corruption and the sexual harassment that goes into an SMU, a special missions unit in the Army. She actually took the SMU in the Army to court and they settled with her for like money. I don't know how much, obviously that's none of my business. And she's been paranoid since the book came out because he didn't put her under a pseudonym like they were supposed to, that they were going to come after her. And I just saw today on the internet that she was arrested for, disclosing classified information, which is basically that she's talked to a reporter and an author and get the book published. But if you read the book, there's nothing classified there. And you would think that she would be protected under the whistleblower, whatever act or protection that she would have. But no, instead, because of everything going on, they just silently arrested her.
As you probably know, we didn't talk about the first one for an hour. Then somebody leaked something, which we'll hopefully find that leaker. We're looking very hard to find that leaker. And talked about there's somebody missing. They basically said that we have one and there's somebody missing. Well, they didn't know there was somebody missing until this leaker gave the information. So whoever it was, we think we'll be able to find it out because we're going to go to the media company that released it and we're going to say, national security, give it up or go to jail. And we know who, and you know who we're talking about, because some things you can't do. Because when they did that, all of a sudden, the entire country of Iran knew that there was a pilot that was somewhere on their land.
Clearance while she worked with Delta Force there with the Army in Fort Bragg. She's the whistleblower that called out the maltreatment that she was experiencing while working there. But the feds believe she was giving away a lot more than just workplace secrets, secrets that could have put soldiers' lives at risk.
For 8 years, Courtney Williams worked in the Army's Delta Force at Fort Bragg, behind-the-scenes work to help maintain cover for one of the military's most secretive groups. But now she's being accused of leaking top-secret information to a journalist that could have put soldiers' lives at risk. Williams was quoted in Seth Harp's book, The Fort Bragg Cartel.
My book is critical of these institutions because I think that waging war in secrecy for 20 years gives rise to a host of cultural problems that spill over into communities like Fayetteville.
WRAL interviewed Harp about the book in October. Williams was quoted extensively when referring to a toxic work environment within Delta Force, where she claimed she was sexually harassed and discriminated against while also sharing information about work she would do. A criminal complaint filed today indicates she had concerns about how Harp's reporting could affect her, telling her mother, "I might actually get arrested," and also telling Harp, "I would definitely have been concerned with the amount of classified information being disclosed." She continued, saying in part, "I'm taking deep breaths, but have a feeling this is going to be more of a nightmare for my children than not." Harp declined an interview but sent me a statement calling this a vindictive act of retaliation and saying in part, "Former Delta Force operators disclose national defense information on podcasts and YouTube shows every day, but the government is going after Courtney for the sole reason that she exposed sexual harassment and gender discrimination in the unit."
So the Eastern District of North Carolina says they will.
All righty, I'll give you the first word. You can go wherever you want to go with this.
Man, that's a lot. That really is a lot. In my understanding, and just correct me if I'm wrong, I saw the clip of Trump in there. Is she the one that leaked the information about the pilot?
Okay. No. So this is the warning shot. This is the warning to whoever it was that did leak the information about that pilot. This is the arrest before the actual arrest. This is the warning to let it be known that anybody that is sharing any information that we deem secure, we're going to get you as well.
Okay. So first of all, Wise, let me ask you this. If you had any daughters, would you ever let them join the United States Army?
No.
Absolutely not. Right. So I'm going to push back against the first claim on here that they're going against her because she's a whistleblower for sexual harassment, sexual assault. Go ahead and tell me you don't know anything about the military when you say something like that. I'm not proud of this, and no one should be, but sexual assault and harassment is still a problem in the United States military, and no more so than the United States Army. At Fort Hood, there was a ring. We have, oh gosh, what's the military expression? It's DEI for civilians. What do we call it in the military? Wise, the person who deals with like racial relations, sexual relations, that job, it'll come to me, right? But that individual is in every single unit, someone who's responsible for dealing with sharp representative, sexual harassment, assault readiness prevention complaints. Each company has one, each battalion has one, all the way up to the base. The base has an individual who is responsible for managing every single individual on that unit when it comes to, thank you, Aim, it's SAR now, sexual assault readiness, right? So in Fort Hood, for those of you in the military, you might remember this. Back in like the 2000s, I think, the individual who was in charge of that on Fort Hood was running a sex trafficking ring using the other SARs to support that. So the ones who were responsible for protecting you were actually doing this. That came out. No whistleblower got arrested, and those individuals are in prison right now. I have many, unfortunately, of these stories. So to say that the reason this young lady is being attacked is specifically because she came out and did what, unfortunately, many soldiers have done, which is say, hey, I've been sexually harassed, I've been sexually assaulted, we need to talk about that. That's not the crime here. The issue is, one, she went to a civilian about information, right? UCMJ exists, court martials exist, there's reporting options that exist for this, all of which have been shown to be effective. She skipped all of that and went to a civilian. Let me talk about top secret versus secret. I'm going to teach y'all something really fun today if you're not from the military. So secret by definition is unauthorized disclosure that could cause serious damage to national security. Okay. Top secret, which what she had, is unauthorized disclosure, which could cause exceptionally grave damage to national security. It is not a small piece of information. I know most people will be like, well, what does she really say? Delta Force. Name someone who's in Delta Force right now. Bet you can't do it. Bet you can't do it because their identities are secret. Here's how secret they are. I had a secret clearance as a pilot. I transported people around, and we had some Deltas on the back. I couldn't look at them. I couldn't talk to them. They had to strip their uniform of the cute little Velcro everyone has nowadays. I couldn't know their name. And it was made intimately aware to me that if you talk to anybody about this mission, you will be in Fort Leavenworth in prison. There is no pass and go. There's no $200 because that information is highly classified. Rarely can you ever come out with that. So if she sat down with the reporter and said, hey, yeah, this guy named Jim Smith over in the unit, she is already in violation of that top secret clearance that she has. You can't give out that information. I don't care what they were doing. It could have been sexual harassment, sexual assault. Do it the right way. They'll protect you and they'll handle that. They've gotten a lot better in the last couple of decades. But that information is highly detrimental. I know a lot of people who maybe never been in the military. Who cares? Who cares, right? So you know their names, maybe the type of mission that they do. It sounds like she talked about that too, right? The type of unit. You shouldn't even know what kind of unit that these individuals are at. But she gave all that information out there. Please understand she belongs in prison. She does, because every bit of information winds up leading back to the front lines. This is what happened in Iraq. Let me tell you all a story. And I'll leave it at this. Something called OPSEC, Operational Security, became more popular after 2002 when we went into Iraq, because what was happening was the individuals in Iraq, the same people who do the same thing in Iran and all throughout the entire theater of operations, well, they'd hop onto MySpace, which I know I'm dating myself, but that was hot at the time. And they would see, all you got to do is just type in a certain location. So I'll say Killeen, Texas. Why not? Everyone knows Fort Hood's there. You can Google that. Type in Killeen, Texas. Type in Fort Hood. Remember your locations on your profile, and then just look at people. Just look. Take like an hour. Just look through people and play a little fun game. How close can I get to getting the information right? Well, I see that 10 people are selling their cars. Right, they're going somewhere. Okay, and this person is looking for someone to watch their house. These people are getting someone to watch their dog. This moron private got on the internet and said, "Hey, y'all, I'll be gone after this weekend." And we found during combat capturing some individuals. They knew our rotation schedule better than an E1, E2, or E3 in the military, because all they had to do was go on social media. Information is not just, oh, oopsie, she had a bad moment. It can get someone killed, y'all. It truthfully can. It can destroy so much months of planning and operations. It can completely shift the entire battlefield. Do you know what it's like to be out there and everything in security told you no one knows you're doing it? No one knows you're out there. You all will be safe. And just to get attacked because they knew about it because someone ran their mouth, I'm happy that they arrested her. If she actually did this, obviously she'll have her time in court. And I believe in that in this country, even though I know right now the answer is guilty even if proven innocent, innocent until proven guilty. I do believe in that. If she is found guilty, I will be the first one celebrating her being arrested. I don't care that she's a woman. I don't care that she's enlisted. I don't care that she's pretty. I don't care that these things happen to her when it comes to this. Right? When it comes to this, you have a responsibility when you sign on the dotted line. But this is what happens when you have a society that believes that emotionality is more important than reality and facts.
No, you're absolutely right, AT. And to be honest with you, we don't know who's in our country and we don't know who's for us and who's against us, even if they do have the blue passport. So the lady says, well, none of the information that was, released that was in the book was classified. But you don't know who this author is, and you don't know who they work for. So what other information was told to her or him, the author, that they said, you know what, we can sell this information because information is currency. A lot of people don't understand this. The information is currency. So yeah, it didn't get released in the book, but okay, who did she sell it to on the black market?
Exactly. I know you can't talk about it, Wise, and I know what you're dancing around right now. He's not making this up. Someone will pay a lot of zeros behind that number for information that you think is useless because it's a puzzle piece and they have other information. And if you put it together, you will get to that picture.
Yeah. Well, that's all intel is, right?
That's right.
They get a little information from here, a little information from here, a little information from here, and they start piecing it together and it starts to make sense.
That's right.
And
When it's accurate, it's dangerous. When you get all those accurate pieces together, you can cause some serious damage. And I think that I think our country has been too lackadaisical in the way they dealt with people who so willingly violated these kind of national security protocols. And I think that, and not just with national security, I'm talking about even with our politicians, the way they talk and the things that they say. I think there's just too much lackadaisical. You can say whatever you want to say and nothing happens. You see with these politicians that now have been robbing our country, the whole 9 yards. There's so many of them should be in jail and should have been in jail that are not. And when you don't do that, you are encouraging this kind of behavior. Yes. And it only takes this kind of behavior to get to a certain level where there's no point of no return. You see, we have to start taking this very seriously. In spite of those American hating politicians and media who will dog you every time you try to do something right when it comes to this kind of thing, we need to flip the script on them. When they are supporting this kind of behavior, we need to go after them with everything. Let them know how disgusting they are. Because as soon as a disaster happens, they'll be the first one to say it wasn't our fault. And there will be disasters that take place as a result of their disclosing information they shouldn't disclose, or accusing somebody falsely that was innocent, but trying to do something that was going to protect America. we can't take this lightly. I think that if anybody deserves to be slandered and to be lambasted and called out and shamed, as Celeste talks about, and Crystal talks about, is the ones who are obstructing justice and the ones who are putting out information that they shouldn't be putting out. We need to stop being melancholy about this kind of thing, and we should if they can be bold doing it, we can be bold sticking it to them for doing it.
No, you're absolutely right. There have been people in the field that have lost their lives because of politicians and people going to bars out in DC and just talking, not knowing that there are spies all around. They're working that they're your server, they're your bartenders.
Big money.
Yep.
You know, so people need to understand this. They need to understand it. There's a book that came out at this point now, I guess it's maybe 30 years ago. It's fiction, but not fiction. It's fiction, but it's not fiction. It's based on some truth. It's called Term Limits. And if you haven't read it, it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal book, and it really kicks off a series of books. If you guys are familiar with the Mitch Rapp series, they did a movie. They came out with the movie. The movie's trash, but the books are phenomenal. But it's
Vince
called Term
Flynn?
Limits. Yeah, Vince Flynn. Yes, dude, you read that, man. It's a phenomenal. It's a page. You can't put it down. But it talks about OPSEC, and it talks about what happens when people get too loose, you know, in certain settings. And this sometimes it's not just speaking to, you know, an author or something along those lines. Sometimes it's just you're just out at dinner. You don't know who's listening to your conversation. You know, you're just out at dinner. You're just out at a bar having a drink.
Over
You
here.
don't know who's paying attention. You don't know. And when the lady said something along the lines around you know, these folks like the SEALs and all these people, they've you know, talked about all types of things. A lot of people don't understand that before they are allowed to speak, especially if they write a book or something along those lines, you have to send that book, that text has to go to the government, and they have to read it and they have to clear it before.
They're probably going to say no too.
And more times than not, they're going to say no, or they're going to make you take certain things out. They're going to redact a lot of things. So people just aren't out here you know, just willy-nilly sharing information. What they are sharing is what they've been told that they can share.
Yeah.
Celeste, I'll give you the next word.
I think at some point we're going to really have to have a conversation about all of the places and spaces where we put women in positions of leadership
Celeste,
and in power.
I'm out for 1 second. I'm sorry. I wanted to go there, but I'm glad you did. Because
I am too. I didn't want to say it.
I didn't want to be the one male up here on the panel to say, you know what, there is something going on with these women. We need to keep these women about these spaces. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, yes, and here's the thing. I'm not saying that there is that women should be excluded from everything. I don't think that's true. I'm not even saying that there is no role for women to play in the military. I think that there could be a role to play in the military. But this willy-nilly, since we're going to stop being willy-nilly, this willy-nilly put women anywhere, can do anything, give them any amount of information. Now, here's my question. My thought about that is this. If she really does feel aggrieved, if she really feels that she was the victim of a sexual assault, of an SA, and the military didn't handle it well, or what, you know, the perpetrator wasn't punished enough, or, you know, whatever else, what makes you think that woman is going to walk away and go, well, you know what? I lost. They won. Okay. That's not the way women work. It is difficult. If you just take the military out of it and you just think of it as a workplace, and a workplace specifically that is mission focused, it is extremely difficult to mix men and women in a mission focused workplace, because men and women operate under different sensibilities, and you have to figure out a way to accommodate two completely different and often opposite, antithetical sensibilities in a way that doesn't ruffle anybody's feathers. How impossible a task are we asking these companies, this government, these military operations to do. It is a near impossible task to do that. Any parent that has raised a son and a daughter can tell you it is difficult to keep those two in alignment, okay, not at each other, and you have to parent them completely differently because they don't operate the same. Yet you stick women in the workplace for whatever reason, promote them up to the point where you're giving them their secrets, abuse them, and then go, well, you just got to take this one on the chin. You gotta walk away with this L because you just lost. Women don't do that. That woman will sit to her dying day to think about, if she can't do nothing but let air out your tire, she'll sit somewhere, but somehow she is going to sit somewhere and figure out how she look. They wrote a song, I bust the windows out your car.
That's right.
Okay, you better leave these women alone, okay? I'm just saying, we have
It's a thin line. It's a thin line.
That's exactly right. We have set ourselves up because we are under the false belief that there is no difference between men and women, that everybody can do anything, that anything a man is suited to do, a woman can do just as good. What's the song? Anything you can do, I can do better. No, you can't. Ladies, sit down. Men, you keep this up. These women are going to open their mouth and get some of y'all killed. You've got these people in highly sensitive situations for which real danger can come from misstep and from folly. We got to stop playing around. Again, this is not a disrespect to women. This is not to say there's no role for women to play, but it is to say we can't be foolish enough to say you can stick a woman anywhere and she's going to operate and have the great, just as good a chance at success in that particular position as a man would. That is foolish thinking.
Excellent, Celeste.
No, you get no pushback from me on that one. Go ahead, Crystal. I'll give you the last word on this and we'll keep it moving.
Okay, so I'm going to push back on all of y'all.
Come on.
The whole group.
Put up your dukes.
I literally had to, I just did that to the Rachel Wilson video where she said women shouldn't vote because women are the reason why it's the issue of progressiveness that's going on in America. That is what she said. And she used the Bible to stand on her argument. And at first when she said it, I was just like, well, it was Eve. So, but then I remembered soy boy Adam was standing there too. And then when I started thinking about everything, a lot of the decisions that Israel made, it was the men, it was the tribe leaders, it was the elders that were making those decisions. It wasn't the women. I think like I said, I'm pushing back on y'all because stop saying women. Say people who are not centered on God. That's the difference. Because when you say women, you know how many things have happened in my career, in my life, that no one will ever know. No one will ever, ever, ever know because I am taking it to the grave. I have friends that we have fallen out. We are not friends anymore. And everything that we've discussed, everything that we've done, we'll go to the grave. No one will ever know because I don't carry unforgiveness because God tells us not to carry unforgiveness. So that's where I'll push back. I will push back on that because it's very easy to say women are the problem. But in actuality, it is what is your foundation? Because it's God used Deborah. Deborah was a woman that led military, judged the nation of Israel. It was Deborah who did that. So when we say women, clearly women can do stuff, but that is when God is centering them. So I want people to really realize that because like I said, that's where I don't agree with y'all. I don't agree with y'all. Yes, women have roles, but God can use anybody. And he could put people anywhere. Military, he could put a woman as a CEO of a company. He could put women as the judge of Israel. He could put women wherever he wants to, as long as they have the right center. And just like the same thing, because I have met men that are so catty, and I'm talking about men, and they gossip just as much as women. So at the same time, we've had men that have leaked secrets too. So it's not just women, men have leaked secrets too. So that's the only reason why I said I'm pushing back. I'm not saying that Celeste is wrong, but I'm saying that we have to stop saying women. We have to start looking at the core, because when we look at everything from a biblical worldview, we have to look at it for what it really is. It's those who are standing against Christ, those who do not have a proper center, and those that do. Those that do will carry themselves very different. Women, men, we will carry ourselves very different on the world stage because we have a different foundation. So that's all I'm going to say. And as far as AT and Wise was saying earlier, I agree, because I'm not in the military, but I've heard so many times about all the SA, all the harassment, all the stuff in the military. So this wasn't something new. She had to have done something different, something more intense, top secret level for her to get in trouble. So for them to just throw it out there and say, oh, it was just her, talking about harassment, I don't believe that one bit. I think they're just trying to use that to cover that up, to make it seem like, no, they're just coming after her because she's a whistleblower. I hate when people try to insult our intelligence with that, because I really don't believe that that's what it was.
So let's get in there. I know you want to go.
Yeah,
go.
Crystal, I'm agreeing with you. I'm not saying that women are the problem, but what I am saying is that women are the only problem. But what I am saying is women are the problem that we as a society are ignoring. We are ignoring the fact that we are setting women up in situations that are not good for women and they're not good for men, in the attempt to try and say, look, we can prove that we're all the same and there is no difference. The fact of the matter is, whether God gave us a nature, women have a nature that is specific and designed only for us. And that nature is great in some circumstances, but it's also not good in others. And we have to be able to say, these are the areas, and let's outline what they are and say them out loud, where we're not good. And it is okay for us to be excluded from areas where we won't do well. And nobody in the society has the courage to say that. Men have done a lot wrong. We have history books full of men. We can all say their names of men who have made consequential, disastrous mistakes, and everybody has died at their hands because of it. What we never talk about is the stuff that women are doing that is getting everybody. Look, we can start from here. If women could take care of their children, either in the home or otherwise, maybe we wouldn't have these streets full of chaos. There are a million consequences and impacts that women have that go just like this because nobody can say anything to women. I'm not for it. And I'm not disagreeing with you. You're right. It's not all women. It's not women, but it is okay to say our nature's not the same as men. It's not, it isn't the same as us, but they set this situation up and they set it up to hurt men, specifically to hurt men. And they set it up to disadvantage us. It was a win-win just so that they could tell this lie that there is no difference, which in my opinion is anti-God, because God absolutely created us and made a distinct and definite difference.
That's right. Can I just say, Crystal, I thank you for your clarity. That was very much needed, because not that Celeste was making that point, but people listening would probably perceive it that way. So I'm glad you made that point. But to Celeste's point again, that there are clear differences and they need to be respected. In the Bible, you don't see the great soldiers, female soldiers. You don't see no. Now there was, I think Deborah did lead, was a judge. I highly doubt she was out fighting. She was leading, but she was not out there fighting. God didn't have women out there carrying swords and cutting people's heads off. So there is a certain segment, or there is a category that women are supposed to be in. And when you take them, when you have an anti-biblical perspective about women and men, and you start putting women in areas that they're not supposed to be in, it's a disaster waiting to happen. And that is why God didn't allow it. There's a reason why God called man to be the head of the family instead of a woman. And there are certain qualities that women have that men do not have, and the reason why they need to be together to make things work perfectly. God didn't expect a household to be with just one man by himself or one woman by himself. Each of them brings something very extremely important to the table for a family. So I thank God for both of your comments, and I thank God for this topic. This is why the biblical perspective is so important. And I think that we have to involve the biblical perspective. I think the Celeste said Crystal said she's starting a program on dealing with everything that she deals with from a biblical perspective. And I like that. We need to start bringing in that biblical perspective, because that's what the problem is with the world right now, is that everything is being done from a non-biblical perspective, and it's causing confusion and disaster.
You're absolutely right.
I just wanted to say real quick, it was JL that took out the person who Deborah sent Barack to fight. I just want y'all to be aware of that. It was a woman that did that.
Amen. No doubt.
And I'm not, again, I agree with, because I see people in the comments, I'm not saying that women and men don't have their own roles. I'm 100% with you. But as I just said, I did this in the video last night. We have no place to say how God can use somebody. And I think that's what happens sometimes. People will say something like, they were like, well, this is a woman's role, this is a man's role, and this is how it's supposed to be. And God says, no. God says, I will make that decision. So that's the only thing that's why I said I wanted to push back a little bit, because I wanted people to be aware of that God makes that decision. It's not us.
You're right.
You're right about that. He used a mule, he could use anybody.
Right. No, you're right, Crystal.
I'll give you the last word and we'll keep it moving.
So two things. One, in regards to women in the military, I think it's the difference between can and should. I've had this stance even before I found Christ, because I will never, ever say, and a lot of soldiers used to say this, women can't be in combat. They can't do the role. Well, that's not true, right? When I was in Iraq the first time, if you were a woman who signed up as a military police, women can do that role, right? They've been able to do that role for a while. You don't realize that in combat in Iraq, military police are the ones who go out and do patrols like they would in the regular society. Like your cops on the highway right now doing a patrol, they would do that, and they would come under fire. I was attached to MPs, and as a medic, I had to, long story short, go run. Someone got hurt. The only person I had to cover me wasn't a guy. It was a girl, right? She fine, butch, strong woman who was the gunner who was shooting over my head as I was going to get this patient. So I'm not going to be someone who say it can't be done. No, I will always be someone who says it should not be done. Right. I understand God can use everybody for everything. Someone said in the comment section, a woman has never led a Hebrew nation. You mean king? No. Led? Absolutely. Deborah, I mean, it's right there, right? Absolutely.
Esther.
God has used all kinds of individuals for all kinds of tasks that if left up to man, they never would have done in the first place, right? And I think we agree on that point. The problem I've noticed is that when we say women shouldn't be in combat, I could sit here and tell you, first of all, I know nobody on this panel except for maybe Wise has ever been in combat with a woman before, seen her get shot before, seen the difference of what happens to the other service members when your homie gets shot versus when a woman gets shot in your unit, right? Time stands still. You can say whatever you want to. That's sexist. It shouldn't be that way. That's not nice. None of that matters when bullets are flying, right? All those things can keep you warm at night. It's not going to save my life whenever it's a life or death situation. But the problem is when we say that, there's this pushback that always happens. You can't tell me what I can do. I'm great. And I know men have done a lot of horrible things throughout history. Absolutely. But just because men have gotten things wrong, as we know they're going to in a sinful world, it doesn't mean that the solution is, well, then we're going to let women do it. But I'll make you a deal. If you want women to be in combat, if we want to just drop the rhetoric that there's certain things that men can do and there's certain things that women can do, if we get offended and defensive every time we hear that, do it then. Equal across the board. I don't want to see another standard for women separate in the military. Equal across the board. I don't want to see separate living quarters. Let's go Starship Troopers on this bad boy. Let's all shower together. Let's do the same training. When I'm getting smacked around or I'm getting thrown around, I want that to happen to you too. I don't want to hear that you can't physically do it. I want you to do it physically, or I want you to die in the process. We have to start as having a real honest conversation with ourselves and putting our pride aside. There are just some things that men are better suited for. That's something we can measure. That's quantifiable. We can look at history. We can look at records. We can look at reports and research to know there are just some things that women do better than men. Oh yeah, I can say that too. That's 100% true. I watched someone give birth. There are things women can do that men can simply not do. And that goes the other way too. We cannot sit here and celebrate, yes, women, we're so strong. Look what we can do. While not saying at the same time, yes, men, we're so strong. Look what we can do too. Two things can exist at the same time. And if we don't have that honest conversation, for us as believers, we're like, yeah, no, we understand the difference. Of course, I hope that we do. It's the individuals who are listening who don't know faith as well. It's individuals who don't know the relationship, the enmity, that word they don't even understand between men and women since the fall, Genesis chapter 3, right? Those individuals are hearing that and they're like, oh, well, no, it's fine then. Let's go do these things. And that we have shown is dangerous. And if someone wants to actually come up here who's been in combat, who has seen it, who's done these experiences with men and women, then I'll listen to that. But if not, I'm not going to really tolerate I'm not saying that no one's doing this on the panel. I'm just saying in general. At some point, we got to put aside the rhetoric, and war is that point. You can have all your opinions you want to. The bullet does not care. And we got to talk about that. As far as information, I'll leave y'all with this one. It's a game that was taught to me in something called SEER school that every pilot has to go to, Survival, Evasion, Resistance, Escape. And they talked about information and how dangerous it is. So for those of you who maybe don't live in a city, who do like car rides, if you're like Eric constantly driving, it's the most fun game to play while you're road tripping. Forget do you see this? Look at people's back of their vehicles and ask yourself, how close to their front door could I get if I lacked any morality? If I wanted to just do whatever and look at the back of their car. I see your vehicle, your make, model. I see your state because your license plate. That's easy. My son is an honor student at so on and so forth middle school. Great. I now know that exactly where I need to go. If I want to find you, just wait outside the line for you to pick your kid up. Oh, you like that salt life? You probably got some expensive toys in your garage, like surfboards and stuff to put that together. Oh, you have a 2A sticker. Maybe I don't mess with you, or maybe I know that you have some expensive toys as well. We don't respect how much information you can get just by looking at something. I got 2 bumper stickers on the back of my car, a cross and a sticker that says, do you follow Jesus this close? Because I hate when people tail ride me. But other than that, there's nothing back there. If we just look at this and we shrug our shoulders and look at this, the rhetoric, right? Discrimination, harassment, assault, whatever her complaint was, she's so pretty, she's so upset. Then once again, we're taking our own bias, our own reality, and we're applying it to that situation, and we're refusing to accept the truth. And that's going to come back to bite us one day when it comes to conflict.
Let me say, don't tell me anything. You don't even have to torture me. If I feel the least bit uncomfortable, I'm telling you. I'm gonna,
a real lady.
When you go on the plane and they say, in an emergency, if you sit by these doors, are you willing to perform? The military needs to ask you. I would be like, absolutely not. AT, when they say if were you going to cover him while he's going to get somebody? I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, we're all out here going to find out together. There's no point in putting me. I'm telling you up front. You know where I could do? I could stay in the back and cook the food over the campfire.
I love you, Celeste. I do. I appreciate the honesty.
I could do that. I could stir the soup in that cauldron and keep mixing it. But if you want me to shoot over your head, I say everybody watch out, because my aim could be off. Anything, a wind could blow. Anything could happen to me. And guess what? I'll just be like, hey, that's how it went down.
I warned you.
Don't tell me nothing, okay? Because if the room is too hot, I'll be like, if I tell you something, will you put the air on? Okay.
I love it.
I do agree with you as far as the standards. And they actually did that, if you recall, and they reversed it because the women were failing at 90+% clips. But I'm there with you. I think you want equity. You want it to be equal.
Let's do it.
Let's do it all the way across the board. You got to do the same amount of push-ups, same amount of pull-ups. You got to run the mile and a half, 2 miles, 3 miles, whatever that is, depending on the branch you're in. You got to run it in the same time as everybody else. Don't lower the standards for some just so you can make sure that you can hit a certain quota. Hey, make it equal across the board.
I want to be clear. There are some absolutely phenomenal women in the United States military. I was a medic when I was enlisted, and women can be medics too, which means a lot of women did actually go out there and see that thing. And it's hard. You got to drag a body on a sked. You got to be able to do certain things. So I want to be clear on that. You will never hear me say women are weak. You'll never hear me say that. You never hear me say that women are useless. You never hear me say that women can't do absolutely phenomenal things. What you will always hear me say is that when you take that and you say, well, then they can do anything. They can do absolutely anything across the board, then you have stepped away from the honesty of Scripture. And you've now said, I know that God can use anything for anybody. I want to force that, right? I'm going to force him to use anybody for anything, regardless of creation. That's where I have a line, because if you haven't had to bury a female soldier before, go to her memorial service with the boots, the rifle, and the helmet and say the things and salute it after it's over with, then you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know that feeling that is associated with that. There's a lot of women who do put themselves in harm's way. We got pilots that have stacked bodies. So it's not that it can't be done. What we need to ask ourselves is, should it be done? And is the benefit of including them in there, to Wise's point, is that a combat multiplier or is it a combat detriment? And I would easily argue it's a detriment when we put resources, equipment, material, ignoring the mentality and emotionality behind it. Just the resources for most of them not to be able to make it regardless. It's a net loss across the board.
God bless you.
I would agree. Read a couple chats and super chat. Shout out to LS. He says, just cause a woman can doesn't mean women should.
Yeah, that's the difference.
That's the difference right there, for sure.
That was his point.
Shout out to Jamodi, $5 super chat, says, I love you, Crystal, but as a vet, do not think that women should never be where violence and men come together. We are very different. I would agree with that. And I like to look at the percentages. I don't like to look at it and say all or nothing. But when you look at the percentages, most women not really about that life for real. When you look at the percentages.
Oh.
Shout out to Carla Sue, gifting 5 Crystal Beyond label memberships. Look at that.
Hey,
Carla Sue coming through in the clutch.
Thank you, Carla.
Shout out to Juggernaut. A lot of women are tougher than men. I ain't seen too many. There's a few.
If you slide to San Francisco, I'll be able to agree with that statement.
Yeah, we're Democrats. Democrat men. They can.
But are they though?
Facts AT. If you want equality, then let's make it equal. Yeah. I'm there with it. And shout out to Uncle Darnell in the building. Accountability is what is lacking with women, mostly because men overlook their offenses on a larger scale.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. I really don't. Maybe because I grew up different. My grandfather held us at a standard, okay? And the people that I'm around, like my best friend that lives in Texas, her father held her to a standard. So if a woman was out of order, we were told. So maybe it's this new baddie culture, because the only thing I know, that's what they call it. I only know women being held accountable. And I think what happened.
Crystal,
now, stop.
What?
I know your family, Crystal. I will say this. She actually does mean that.
No,
her
I'm not knocking. I'm not knocking that. And I am for certain that you had parents and your father would hold you accountable. But what we see in society,
father would kill her.
But that's what I just said.
We see in society, we see women getting away with a whole bunch of stuff that men just would definitely not get away with. We see it happening.
You've heard me say that, Wise. I've said it. I said, what I see is women make it their business to tear men down constantly, and they're not being, and I've called them out. I've always called out women for not doing their part or looking at other, like exactly what Nanny just said, or today's soy boys who celebrate Spirit Finger Tim Walz kicking his leg up. Those type. Yes, I 100% agree with you, but I'm saying there are women who are truly accountable. 100%.
We're just talking to percentages. We can say most.
Yeah. No, but I think the problem is because the loudest or the ones that are featured on the media are the ones that are not held accountable. I feel like out in the real world, women are held accountable. That's what I'm trying to say. I feel like in the real world, outside of because there are a lot of women that sit down here like, what are you talking about? Like, I've seen more people like me, and maybe that's because who I surround myself with, that understand about being accountable as a woman. I know Celeste knows about being accountable as a woman. April is Linda, like so many of us, we know about being accountable as a woman. We call out the bad behavior, but I think we call out the bad behavior because that is on the front. I mean, that's the Love and Hip Hops, the Atlanta Housewives.
Crystal, can I ask you a question? You said you, Celeste, April. Do you think that most women in the United States of America are like you, Celeste, and April?
Yes.
You think most women in the United States are believers in Jesus Christ and actually align with morality, appropriateness, and fall into what it means to be a woman and are accepting of that role and the power associated with it?
So wait. Let me say this. I'm sorry. You asked Crystal. Go ahead, Crystal. I'm sorry. I'll wait.
Do I think so? I do think so. I think
you think most women in the United States of America are biblical Christians that align with the scripture.
If I go into 2819, and I'm just going off of just 2819, Lionheart, the churches in Pastor Alan Nolan, the different churches that I know, they have more women than men. they actually do have more women than men.
Most
And now
churches.
Well, most churches do. Yeah.
that's what I said, we agree. Most churches do, but there are a lot of Bible believing Christian women out there. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying that there aren't those women that aren't held accountable, but I think it's just like the percentage of black culture, black idolatry compared to reality. I think what we do is we see what's on the internet and be like, that's what the whole world looks like. No, it's not. It's actually not.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Crystal 100% right here. I'm going 10 toes down in this sense. I think what happens is that there is a dichotomy. The dichotomy in Black culture is most Black people do not live and do not behave in what is portrayed to us as Black culture. I think that is also true for women. I think what is being portrayed about especially young women to us is not really the majority of young women. The majority of young women are not Sexy Red. They're not Cardi B. They're not. Now, whether they're Bible believing, that is a different question. But I'm saying
that was my question.
Just I know. So I'm separating my answer from your question. But
Amen.
The idea that most women are baddies and they're ratchet and they're scandalous and they're, and they're out here, trying to get men for their money and, they're sexually just available. And I don't think that most women are behaving that way, but I do agree that that's how the culture portrays specifically Black women. And I think the problem why men believe that. So let's ask that question. Why is it men believe that about women and women don't believe that about themselves? There could only be two answers. Either one, women are deluded about who they are, or two, it is that woman, that baddie woman, that kind of sexually available, the woman that's the woman you come in contact with because that's the woman you really are checking for.
Can I ask a question, Celeste?
That's what you see.
There is a third.
If I take that mentality, then I don't ever want to hear then that there are no good men. I don't want to hear that men will lie to women in order to get them into the beds. I don't want to hear anymore that men are lazy, that there's a lack of masculinity. Because when I look at the environment with women, I see this is again battle of the sexes. We want to be told, listen to women when it comes to their dating experience with men. Listen to women when it comes to their experience just interacting and living with men. And I could sit here and I can tell you, for example, Church 2819, right? I pulled it up because I was just curious. I pulled this up before. They've got a really strong attendance record. They do. They got like thousands of people. About 6,000 people go on a weekly basis, according to the recent study. And then Pastor Jamal Bryant, who again, I don't know that well, but y'all bring his name up a lot. He's got over double what 2819 has, which all I know is sad based off of the one time I've heard him talk about Christmas and he was dead wrong, right? So I would easily argue that one, whenever a woman comes up to me and says, this has been my experience with men, I don't immediately believe her because y'all know how liberal girls get down, but I do want to listen to that. And I want to ask, is there truth to this at all whatsoever? Because I've heard the accountability thing my entire life, all throughout this country, to all kinds of individuals. And what I've noticed is, most men will agree with that statement. Most men will say, yeah, holistically, not just the Christians, not just the Black community, United States of America, women, actual women, biological and included, women do not take accountability on a whole. Does that mean that every woman doesn't take accountability? No, absolutely not. As this one will tell you, she will punch her children in the throat. That's real, by the way. If they ever got out of she's smiling, right? But a lot of men have this experience. And my concern is when we're like, well, no, that's just what you're being shown. Don't give me your anecdotal evidence. I believe most are this way. That's where I have pushback on because I don't hear anything besides, well, I was raised this way. I feel it's this way because the news is showing this. Y'all, it is bad out there when it comes to women and accountability.
Yes, and that's why before you go, Celeste, that's why for Crystal and you, Celeste.
Stop the cap.
Thank you, Wise.
I had to hit y'all with that because come on, man. You act like you ain't live in DC. You act like you ain't been to Baltimore. You act like you ain't walked through New York City and see the ratchetness that is out here in these streets. Come on now.
All right.
Come on, man.
Wait. I'm not disagreeing that accountability. I think accountability is a different question than saying are the majority of women the ratchet, sexy red.
I didn't say that.
Type.
No, I'm not
I
saying
don't
that's
think
the
that's the
majority.
majority.
I'm not
now,
saying that's the majority.
Are women accountable?
hold up,
accountability though.
But hold up, Celeste. The accountability aspect. We just had, and I don't even, we're gonna talk about it. We just had the sorority, AKAs.
Yes.
These quote unquote upstanding professionals for their conference. They brought on Trick Daddy, JT Money, and Uncle Luke as their performers.
Hey, Crystal's right. Sororities are evil.
Quote unquote college educated.
Hey, she turned me over as soon as she said it.
These are supposed to be these are the women that are upstanding senator, but you bring on Uncle Luke. Y'all know what Uncle Luke music is. They bring Trick Daddy dollars. Y'all know what he about. JT Money. Come on, man. Stop the cat.
All right,
Come on.
Wait. Let me say this. Here's the problem. And you're 100% right. The issue is you think those women are upstanding. Why? Because to me, I think that those are ghetto women in pink shirts who went to college. I don't think those are upstanding
argument for me
women.
on that. But what I'm saying is that we got those that look it on the outside, and then we also got those that are hiding it. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I was going with this. You took the words right out of my mouth. We got those that we can see. If you come out here to Baltimore City, you go walk through DC. Walk through DC. And you will see exactly what we're talking about.
Walking through these.
Touch the grass. That's what I'm trying to say.
I can't have the dog.
But this is why I'm saying go outside and touch the grass, because is every woman. This is what I'm saying. Y'all, you name
but what we're saying. But what we're saying.
Are we talking about black women? Are we talking about Hispanic women? Are we talking about
the United States of America? Majority. Not saying literally everyone.
What I'm saying, even the ones that are supposed to be quote unquote upstanding. I'm not saying that they are, but at least they give all
that was played. The trick that was played is this. They got everybody believing if you go to law school, if you join a sorority, if you have a college degree, and I'm going to speak specifically about the Black community. The Black community has so much reverence for education. In fact, it had more reverence for education than it had for God. And what it did was it told people, and I'm talking about the lowest common denominator of the Black community. Don't worry about changing your behavior. Don't worry about becoming upstanding. Don't worry about actually embodying middle-class values. If you get an education, that absolves you from everything else. So you can be as low down and as ratchet as you want to be. But as long as you can say, but yes, I'm an attorney, or yes, I'm a doctor, or yes, I'm a part of this group, or I'm in the links, or I'm in that, all of that gets pushed away. And so what ends up happening is men go for all of the bullet points. She's a Greek letter. She went to this school. She's a part of this profession. She's a part of this professional organization. She must be okay. No, she's hood as hood can be, but y'all can't tell the difference at first, and that's why you're mad.
Hood with the degree.
That also goes back to that lack of accountability that we were talking about. Because Kevin Samuels was just destroyed for holding women to a standard and holding them to some form of accountability. And anytime men jump out there and start trying to set a standard and hold accountability, they get just mollywopped all throughout these internet streets. You guys know this. Now, I'm not sitting there saying we're all not out here saying that, there aren't some good, wholesome women out there. We're not saying that. We're not saying that. We're talking about the accountability aspect of things. And
what's wrong with that is the good, wholesome women are not holding those ratchet women accountable.
There you
That's
go.
the job we've slept on. What we should be
go
doing all the time is saying, don't come out here in my name looking like that with your red hair and your booty shorts. Don't come out here in my name.
You are absolutely right. And guess what? Men been holding men accountable for a very long time. Right. We've gone on the internet. They've written books. They've written news articles holding men's feet to the fire. If we don't look at men out here with 7, 8, 9 kids and hold them up and call them king, we don't do that.
But
We
that's
don't
the
do
thing.
that. We see
I
a
wanna
dude out
point
here. He got 10 kids and 10 different baby mamas. We call him
Trash.
what he is. He's
We
trash.
talk about it.
But on the flip side of that, on the flip side of that, you know what I'm saying? There's no accountability for the woman that goes out there and does the same exact thing. That's all we're saying. Just to
You're
let this.
correct.
I just
You're
want to
correct.
clarify real quick. But that's the thing right there. You said men have been going out and doing this and so on and so forth. But there are female creators or writing books like Celeste, the Ass Backwards Way, right? There are people that are doing it, but as women, you're not held up. So when you think that there are women not holding women accountable, there are women, but they are. It always seems like they're quiet or they're overlooked.
Who quiets the women? Who quiets the women?
Anyone. There are men who quiet the women. There are women.
It's mainly the women.
There are women and men who quiet. What? I've
It's
had men
mainly
tell
the
me.
women that quiet the other. Even right now, Crystal, even right now with what happened down in Florida at that AKA conference, they're trying to quiet that down. They don't want people talking about that lady that booked these ratchety artists for this quote unquote supposed to be upstanding organization. They're quieting that down.
But I'm saying even right now in the comments where all I said was a biblical worldview. That's all I was trying to give people. I didn't disagree with Celeste. I didn't disagree with Minister Denzel.
No,
I just said I want to give a biblical worldview. Everyone looked at it like, well, Crystal's in her feelings. She's a feminist. I'm not a feminist.
Don't read the comments. Don't read the comments. They're bad for you.
No, but I'm just pointing out, I'm giving him examples. I'm not a feminist. I just feel like we need to stop looking at things from a very physical realm, and we need to look at it from a spiritual realm. When you look at things from a spiritual realm, you're looking at it from 2020 vision, which is the best way to look at stuff. But people are like, oh, she's in her feelings.
But Crystal, when you look at things through the
you're
biblical
right. You're
lens, that
absolutely right,
also means that you have to hold people accountable. And what we do understand is that what we see out here from the percentages, we're not going to say all. I don't want to say all. I'd like to look at the percentages. More times than not, women are less likely to be held accountable by men and definitely by other women.
You're right about that because women are a sacred cow. Yeah. It's just that simple.
Right.
Women for a long
You
time
said that yesterday.
have been a sacred cow. However, I do think that is diminishing. I think Kevin Samuels had a lot to do with that. I think culture has a lot to do with that. I think people's basic dissatisfaction with their lives has to do with that. I think men actually want to marry decent women. And I think women are figuring out the way we have been programmed to be. And not to say we don't have some accountability, but we didn't get here on our own. The way we've been programmed is not work for all this free love, 1960s. You can have sex like a man and all that. None of that has worked for us. None of it has. All it has done is left us emotionally hurt and for the most part broke. And I don't think there's two worse things to be. But so my God. But so I agree with you. And I think women are realizing all of this stuff didn't work. I think men are realizing none of this stuff worked. And I think we are, as a culture, slowly coming back to a reversal. We are looking at the way our grandparents and our parents lived, and we are saying, they had something that we want, and we need to go back and figure that out. So I think it's going to turn around. I don't think.
Can I have one thing? Maybe I'll get a chance.
Yeah, well, men are at a point now. It's probably a better part of maybe 10, 15 years now, have been teaching other men, like, hey, if you want to have some money, don't jump out here and have a bunch of kids by a bunch of women. Don't you do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't you do it. Find you a good woman. You get married to that woman. You know what I'm saying? Or if you can't find a good woman, hey, just don't have any children. If you got to be celibate. Men are out here teaching other men to do this. And when we see men out here not operating properly, they call you out on it. Your money not where it needs to be. Well, why not? Well, you don't have the right skill. Men are willing to call each other out. Sure. I've called my little brother out. I've called my little cousin out. Like, hey, when they not on point, like, y'all got to tighten up. I've given these instructions to my boys, to my sons. Like, hey, this is how you move. And when you do the opposite, we're going to call you out and say, nah, bro, that's not it. The problem is on the opposite end of that. Like I was saying earlier in the first clip, when we were talking about the first clip, we have a lot of mothers in the church, and we have a lot of older women that don't realize that they're the older women that's supposed to be giving the younger women the game, and they're choosing not to do it because they're in direct competition with a lot of these younger women, unfortunately.
No,
And
you're right.
older men, we don't look at a young man as competition. We look at it as somebody that we can give some wisdom and some guidance to. On the other end of that, when you're coming to women, older women are competing with younger women, so they refuse to give them the proper information that is needed so that they can live a good life in this country. That's why you can get a Leslie Jones get out there and say marriage is slavery and this, that, and the third, and can get out here and say all these crazy things because she's miserable and she wants all of y'all to be miserable just like her. That is the difference.
I think the lesson in this is that everyone that's listening to this, you should support women like Celeste, like me. And this, because my entire apparatus started out trying to explain to women, don't do what I did. Get yourself a husband, get married, do what God called you to. Like, that was the point of the show, because I wanted to give something opposite than the world. Celeste is always dropping wisdom. Go buy her book. Dion does videos and acts and tries to tell people about why you shouldn't be ratchet. So people should actually be going out and go support April, go support Linda, go support the people that are actually putting out content to counteract this, because a lot of the times people aren't there supporting it. And so we just get suppressed. It's like our messages go nowhere.
Crystal, I agree with you 1000%, but I want you guys to admit that you, April Chapman, Linda B, Celeste Duffy, you guys are in the minority. Let's just keep it a buck. You all are in the minority.
All right. In the minority of what? Accountability or ratchet?
In the minority of what Crystal just described.
Definitely the last one.
Both.
Well, I will blame
I do not think most women are ratchet. I really don't.
I'll say we are in the minority as far as holding people accountable, because most people get online to make money. And as AT clearly knows from our time on TikTok, when I was preaching the word of God or trying to teach women certain things, I got shadow banned and blocked, and my account right now says
for sexually explicit material, by the way.
And warning. While the woman who was on TikTok clapping her cheeks
don't remind me,
got excessive promotion, and her thing kept growing. So, and honestly, I don't think it was just women liking the woman clapping the cheeks. I think it was men that was enjoying the woman clapping the cheeks. So maybe men turn off those things so that women who are trying to give good advice
point it right back at them.
Lift it up.
I want to use that example actually, because here's the question I have. If I took there are probably disgustingly a few women who were enjoying that. And Crystal, thank you for that nightmare tonight. You know, I despise having to watch that, right? If all those men were to hop into this live right now, and they were listening to Wise, and Wise knew that they had done that, he will say something to them. Do not do this, right? I think any man who has good morals and values, and I think that's the question, do we have a lot of men like that in this country? But they're going to check them on that. I'll agree with Wise on this one. Wise is correcting me on this show, right? It's just what we do as guys, right? But do I see women hopping in that comment section also saying, stop doing this? I think it's the back and forth on this. I just wanted to add this one real quick thing and let y'all keep going on this, because I can't let this one slide. Celeste did not say that she believes that women are sacred cows in 2026. I saw a few of y'all heard that. You're like, I can't believe she would say this. But she is accurate that for a large part of human history, women were viewed that way. She's a writer, y'all. She has alliteration and stuff like that, metaphorical language, and she is 100% correct. I think if I want to weigh in on this, one of the big issues that we see is we're so quick to not want to accept something that is going on from someone else's reality and perspective, right? And I see this a lot. This is not towards the two ladies who are up here. I just have noticed this. Men can't come out and complain about women. They can't, right? Because if they do, then it's not listened to. That it definitely is not done, right? It is shot down, either ignored at best, right? Or it's shot down, no, you're wrong, can't be this way. And then it's always kind of like what liberals do with Trump. But what about the guys? But what about Trump? Well, the guys do this, and Trump said this, right? Well, the guys have done this historically, and Trump has done this historically. I wish we could get to a point of one accepting our roles by scripture, right? You know how my story ends, Crystal, when it comes to battle of the sexes, and so that's why I'm not saying much. As men, we have to actually lead again in society. I don't believe the answer is for women to stop doing debauchery and such. I mean, it'd be nice, but they're not going to, right? Supply and demand. I will always say that. But even in that framework, short of men exercising forced doctrine and forcing women to behave a certain way, whether it's now, whether it's later, y'all know that A man can't really be checked by a woman. You can try, but it won't really hit the same. And a woman will not let herself be checked by a man. You can try, but it's not going to hit the same way. If you've ever been married, you know that is the truth, right? We got to get to a point of saying, hey, look, this is the reality we live in. I'll talk about men. I will only talk about men when I say this. We're in a reality right now in the United States where a large amount of men, I can't give you the percentage because I've never dated men before, so I can't really get too down into it. Large amount of men are not leading this country properly. They're very feminine. They're very soft. They're very weak. They're not willing to accept the truthful, factual, biblical right over the incredibly easy and feels good wrong. That is something that we have to deal with as men. And I assure you that, at least for myself, Minister Danzel, and for Wise, when we see men who are not aligned with that, we are going to say something. What you going to do? You going to cry? Right. You going to try and fight me? I'm still going to say something to you about that because it needs to be said for the betterment of this nation and for your life. I think what I would like to see is the same on both sides, but I'm just going to put the period right there. We have to work on our own groups and stop waiting for women to get better so men will get better, and for men to get better so women will get to better. Absolutely. Be that change right now and be willing to call out what is wrong, even if it hurts. Even if it tears away from the foundation of whatever you identify yourself as, wrong is wrong, right? And until we get to that point, can't fix a problem if you can't identify it and accept it. Go ahead, Celeste.
I think Minister Danzel wanted to say.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, I think we all can agree that the ratio of upstanding, accountable, and non-ratchet women are in churches, but that does not represent the ratio of accountable and non-ratchet women in the world. So there's a lot we're never going to have a majority of women who are right and good and righteous and all that stuff. You're always going to have a minority of them. So I think that when Crystal accidentally said most, that was the thing that threw everything out of proportion, because everything that was said here was true. But the bottom line is that the people who are righteous, upstanding, striving to do what's right are always going to be in the minority. That's what the world is all about. And that's why our job is so daunting. We have to try to reach these other women, but you got to be careful, because when you start saying most women are accountable and most women are non-ratchet, it gives the impression that you really think that generally, and that's not going to be the case.
Let's read a couple super chats and chats. Shout out to Uncle Darnell, been a member for 4 months. Shout out to you, Uncle Darnell. Accountability is what is lacking with women, mostly because men overlook their offenses on a larger scale.
I'm curious if he means men overlook women's offenses on a larger scale, or because men overlook their own. Okay, I figured. All right.
Yeah, he was meaning like look, I mean, even when you think about, certain DV situations, a lot of times, I mean, when it's DV woman versus man, a lot of men will overlook that, but women will never overlook the fact that a man did something along those lines. So
that's a fair point.
Shout out to Darnell with the $5 super chat. Says statistically, if a man and woman commit the same crime, the man will serve greater, more harsh sentence. Yeah, that's been proven.
Yeah.
Shout out to Deb with the $10 super chat. Says Proverbs chapter 31. Women ran the businesses in the marketplace. In Revolutionary War, 20% of spies were women. Got British Army to spill secrets. Jesus brought quality to women, yet preserved our differences. Yeah,
very true. Yeah,
no, very true, Deb.
Good point.
Shout out to 2020 Vision with the $5 super chat. Says Crystal and Celeste, that's just your circles. See, y'all haven't had to date women. Trust and believe this is not most women. The crazy thing is that the women that are dating women, they're coming out and making videos about how crazy and ratchet these women are. I mean,
You mean say that again? I missed that.
You never heard that?
The women that are dating women, the studs and all those types of folks,
Oh, that group that has the most amount of
domestic assault
violence complaints.
Yes.
Silence.
Don't say that. Don't talk about that. Why you dare you say that?
Even they are coming out and saying like, nah, they're on the crazier side. Shout out to LS. Remember, it was women coming out to stop the Freaknik documentary. Yeah. Yeah, I remember those days. Man, let's not reminisce on those days in Atlanta. Goodness gracious.
I didn't go.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad because they got folks. They fought tooth and nail to make sure that daggone documentary didn't come out. These are your principals and your lawyers and your doctors you was talking about. Celeste.
Again, yes, these are your ratchets. This is why I'm sorry for the plug, but in the book I talk about the invasion of the class snatchers. They have allowed people so-called into a class that is not their own, that they do not belong to. I'm done.
Do not apologize for your plug.
No, not at all. Shout out to the Couch coming through $2 super chat, says gotta have them working man hands. Shout out to 2020 Vision, $5 super chat, says Shaka Khan, Miss Felicia Rashad, Monique, all held women accountable and got dragged for it. Yes, I forgot about that. By other women.
Yes.
The women went crazy.
Yeah.
On Monique just said, "Hey, sisters," and she said it with love. Stop rocking your bonnets and carrying on to the daggone airport and out and about. That's not for for folks to see. And they drug her through the mud. Felicia Rashad, she said something about the clothing and how they are the lack of clothing, and they drug her. Now Shaka Khan just came out and they're dragging her right now. She's the last one. So who can tell you all anything? Men can't, but the women can't.
So you make a good point, and this is why it is hard. And I'm starting to understand. I'm trying to understand what you all mean when you use the word accountability, because I'm convinced I meant
to ask that question in the very beginning. What are we defining it as?
I'm not sure I quite get it, but one of the things that's going to be hard is, you're absolutely right. It is extremely difficult for anyone women are hard to check. Period. I told you that story. I said, if a woman not going to take a L, when we talked about the soldier that leaked, if what she said did happen, let's just take it for that. She's not going to go away and go, you know what? I just lost this one. I got to go rebuild my life, and I'll do it better next time, and I'll show them. She going to bust a window. She's not going to do that.
Somebody going to pay.
It is extremely difficult for women to be checked, which is why women have to be in submission to God and in submission to a man who's in submission to God, because on our own, we are nearly uncheckable.
Shout out to Shaz
coming from a lady.
Coming through, $2 super sticker. Appreciate you. Shazberg once again, $2 super chat, says women have glorified a matriarchal society. Shout out to Francesca coming through, $2 super chat, says love your show, started watching 4 months ago. Thank you, Francesca.
God bless, Miss Santiago.
God bless you. Shout out to 2020 Vision, $2 super chat, says unfortunately there are a lot of simp men, Crystal. Yeah,
a lot of them.
Amen. And shout out to Johnny Red coming through with the $100 super chat, says 100. Keep spreading God's word, man. Thank you, Johnny Red. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. All righty, let's keep it moving. Shout out to you guys, man. Hit that like button if you have not done so already. I want to play this clip here. Trump dropped a Truth Social yesterday. I had to ask Crystal, is this real? Because nowadays you just have to ask these things. Like,
I meant to ask you too, Crystal, when you sent that to me.
Is it real? But it is definitely real. So I want to play a couple clips for you guys, and we'll get into it.
That Donald Trump just went off on the grifter class. The Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, all these people that all they've done is talk about Trump. Most of them, by the way, became famous and rich off of Trump. Okay? And now they're speaking on the man who changed the direction of this country for the better. No other politician ever done what Donald J. Trump has done. And what do? They turn on him because they don't like one little thing. You know what it is? These people are trying to take the MAGA movement because they think once Trump is gone, the MAGA movement is going to fracture, and they're trying to grasp it. That's all this is about. Power and control and taking part of the movement. These people don't care about the country. If they did, they would have loved the fact that Donald Trump is actually shifting the divide of the New World Order, bringing the control back to our hemisphere. They should be celebrating. Trump is doing things no one thought could ever be done.
Now, President Trump took to Truth Social to slam his former friends who say they are over his war in Iran. The president writing, quote, "I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting me for years, especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, to have a nuclear weapon because they have one thing in common," he says, low IQs, end quote. Carlson just called for the U.S. to detach from Israel. Kelly says that Trump, quote, allowed himself to be pushed into this conflict by Netanyahu. And Jones has called on Trump's cabinet to use the 25th Amendment to oust him from the Oval Office. President Trump says he has the support of MAGA, and in a phone interview today said he is, quote, very optimistic that a peace deal with Iran is within reach. And he says Iran has been conquered. His vice president is set to lead those negotiations in Pakistan this weekend alongside his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, though Iran is warning the U.S. that Israel could kill any chance at diplomacy by continuing attacks on Lebanon.
With the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect. I do not object to their ignorance, but rather I reject their mean-spirited attempts to defame my reputation. I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998. This initial encounter with my husband is documented in detail in my book, Melania. The first time I crossed paths with Epstein was in the year 2000 at an event Donald and I attended together. At the time, I had never met Epstein and had no knowledge of his criminal undertakings. Numerous fake images and statements about Epstein and me have been circulating on social media for years now. Be cautious about what you believe. These images and stories are completely false. I'm not a witness or a named witness in connection with any of Epstein's crimes. My name has never appeared in court documents, depositions, victim statements, or FBI interviews surrounding the Epstein matter. I have never had any knowledge of Epstein's abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island. I have never been legally accused or convinced of a crime in connection with Epstein's sex trafficking, abuse of minors, and other repulsive behavior. The false smears about me from mean-spirited and politically motivated individuals and entities looking to cause damage to my good name, to gain financially and climb politically, must stop. My attorneys and I have fought these unfounded and baseless lies with success and will continue to maintain my sound reputation without hesitation. To date, several individuals and companies have been legally obligated to publicly apologize and retract their lies about me, such as Daily Beast, James Carville, and HarperCollins UK.
All right. They came out both same day, calling out names. They're not even, they're just like, ugh. AT, I'll give you the first word. What are your thoughts?
I genuinely thought when Crystal sent me the Truth Social, if I'm not mistaken, I'm still going to call it a tweet, but the tweet that Trump put out there, I thought it was a joke. I will tell you the truth. I'll tell you the truth. I don't love the rhetoric that he had for it. Very happy he called them out by name, though. Absolutely. I've never had an issue with the president or anyone calling someone out by name for what they did, by action. I think it needs to happen. But, it's Trump. Trump has always been the way that he has been with his social media. I don't recommend calling them nut jobs, low IQ. I personally don't talk about people's spouses, especially not in a physical sense, saying that Candace is not an attractive woman. I think that's conduct unbecoming, personally. Entertaining as it absolutely is. But some of these things on here, it gave off the impression of someone whose prom date broke up with them the night before, and now they have access to social media. That being said, it doesn't remove the truth behind what he was saying in that. I think that's going to be hard for a lot of individuals to pierce through, because the left media is going to say he's horrible. I can't believe he said these things. It's so sad. Trump's always been this way. He's consistent. I'm not surprised that he said this. That I will tell you. I voted for him all the same, knowing that this man probably should have someone take his phone away from him and kind of double check the stuff that he says. But in it, the truth is very much there. All these individuals, I'm not too familiar with what Alex Jones did. I heard about it, the Sandy Hook thing, and all that. But Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, my sister Crystal has kept me pretty abreast on that. Objectively speaking, they are using two things. It is Trump and Charlie Kirk. They are using those to boost their platform. I think one of you showed me a video about how many times Candace has said we're close. We're almost there. We're close. Any day now. We're really close. She's been close in September of last year, right? And so I think he's right for calling this out. I wish he had the class that Melania had when he did it, because this woman should not have to do that. She should not have to come up there and have to explain herself as the first lady of the United States of America and all the things that are going on. She's catching strays, and she's probably sitting there just trying to do her absolute best. I'm happy she came out there. I'm happy she said the names. Absolutely. And I'm really curious. And I know that, I know Crystal's probably going to let us know as soon as it happens. I can't wait to hear what the response is going to be from these individuals who were named, because you have been dragging his name through the mud. And it's not against talking against the president. You have a right to do that. And you should. If you think that he's doing something wrong, absolutely. But if you have a platform with millions of people following you, you have an obligation morally to do so in an objective way, in a way that is meant to bring individuals together and not just for your clicks and everything in between. So I'm happy that he's calling that out. It's a shame that as a country, we're spending time calling out individuals who are leading people astray, still have homeless, still have an education issue, still have a food issue, still have a health issue, and all kinds of things. Hopefully people hear this and realize that, yeah, there's some bad actors that are out there. I do hope they can look past the way that Trump said it. They're not gonna, but again, he's always been this way. And so I'm not going to walk away from this. And even last night, I passed out. I didn't walk away from it thinking anything less than Trump. He's always been that way. If he had came out and done something different, then maybe. But I'd love to hear somebody say that what he's saying is not true, right? I'm not going to hold Trump to the standard of Christ and expect him to be perfect across the board. I just want to see, is what he's saying have any foundation in reality? And I believe that it does.
Well, I mean, this really bolsters their platforms. Even
That's my
more.
other concern,
too. He really tossed them a nice bone there. I mean, sheesh. Could you say something negative about ARP?
Well, they're going to get liberals, too. They're going to get a lot of people on the Democratic side to come over and now listen to these platforms, because he said exactly what they love. People on the left hate Trump. Period. It don't matter what the man does. As soon as you say anything, they'll come in there, but Trump, but Trump, but Trump. And so now he just gave them somewhere else they can go to get that content. And so it might backfire too. You're absolutely right.
Exactly. Minister Danzel, what are your thoughts?
Oh, well, first of all, I have Trump is Trump. I don't agree with a lot of things that he says or the way he says them, naturally, and I think that there needs to be more pushback about that. He can learn a lot from his wife, by the way,
Oh,
when it
yes.
comes to
Very
communicating. And I wish he would take more of her demeanor when he's doing, because I mean, a lot of stuff he's saying is true and needs to be said. But you can diminish what you say by how you say it, and I don't think
Yeah.
he has gotten that memo yet. Let me just give you a couple of things. He on the IQ. I think that he was right about Alex Jones having a low IQ, but I don't think that's true about the rest of them. I also don't think that it's true about him saying. I don't think that it's true about him saying that Candace is ugly. That's just you see. The problem with Trump is that he says true things and false things at the same time, and it just the false things he says just because it's true. You know, you can call him stupid. You know, and that's unfortunate. I'm on the fence still about the Bridget Macron thing. I think she could be a man from what I've researched so far. But my main concern is that he's calling out people who were once supporting him, who now, for all the different reasons that they're not supporting him, are turncoats and needs to be called out. And specifically people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, they are, and I don't go the same direction as many go, saying they are grifted, they just doing this to make money. I think these people have real legitimate concerns, they have really legitimate arguments, and I think that it's easy to ignore the legitimacy of what they're saying because of the illegitimacy of the things that they're saying, because they like Trump are saying true and false things, and I try not to diagnose the person's motivation because I don't know them, I'm not in their head and I'm not God, but I judge them by what they say. And so what I'm trying to encourage Christians to do is take what they say. If you're going to attack them, outline what they said specifically and respond to it, proving that it's wrong.
Thank you.
Don't just generalize and say that, well, they're crazy, they're demonic, they're this and that, because that doesn't help the argument. It doesn't discredit them. It just shows that you have an animosity against them. If you look at my Substacks, I actually do take the time to go through some of the things that people say about that Candace, for instance. I'm doing a series right now called Get Candace Owens, and I've been doing a series of going through people who legitimately said things about her, and I also outlined the illegitimate things that they've said, and I think that we have to be accountable to that. We have to be accountable. If we're going to hold her accountable, we got to be accountable also. Now I'm going to be doing my next series. What the others should be doing is accurately identifying the things that she's saying and doing wrong, and nail her on those. She says enough bad things to nail her on. Why would I nail her on things that makes basic some general sense when she got a whole lot of crazy stuff that she said and bad stuff that she said about Israel, about Iran, things she said positive about Iran, things she said wrong about Christianity, about Jews, about Israel. I mean, she says a lot of dumb stuff and bad stuff because she's tapping wrong sources. Let's get her on that. And if we do that consistently, that will discredit her. But when you nail her on things that she or attack her on things that she's not actually making no sense about, you're not helping the issue. That's my point on that. But Trump, he was good for doing that. I think he should go out there, but he has to be more accurate, because anytime he's not accurate, it just discredits him. And that's stupid, especially the man at the top of the list. He's an American president. He needs to have more class. And who's around him that's talking can say, listen, dude, you're doing a good job, but you gotta clean up your language. You know, maybe as AT said, somebody need to check out what he's putting out before he puts it out. He needs to have somebody in his ear that he respects enough to let them help him with how he's communicating, because he's making some bad mistakes that gives his enemies more credibility to attack him. And I think that's unfortunate.
Minister
Denzel, it gives them more fuel, just more bullets in the chamber, because they'll pick out the things that are false and they will hone in on those things, and they will disregard the things that he said that are true.
You don't need to give him that.
And I'm there with you. But at the same time, I mean, Trump's brash. He's been brash. He is a legit New Yorker. He is a legit New Yorker. No doubt. And he's not a politician, and I think people understand that. And I think he's at this point now, and this is just my opinion. I think he understands that he has 2.5 more years in this political realm, and I'm going to do and I'm going to say whatever it is that I want to do, because I ain't running for nothing else after this. This is it. Yeah, and I think that's where he is. And I think, when you get a certain age as well, you know how that goes. When you get a certain age, the couthness goes out the window. You just say whatever's on your mind. If you feel like I got to get it off my chest, I'm gonna get it off my chest. And he's an 81-year-old.
Why? He's making up for a lot that wasn't said over the years.
Yeah,
he's making up a lot for what wasn't said over many years. That too. Said.
No,
exactly.
He's going to be 80. He's not 80 yet.
He's not 80 yet? Okay. I thought he was 80 already. Okay, so he's 79 going on 80. Okay.
I'm gonna wait for the ladies to get their points in there, but I want to say something at the end, but I don't want to get in front of the ladies.
Go ahead, Celeste.
I didn't care about the tweet. I didn't care about it because of Trump and his tweets. And I also didn't care about it because I feel like this, what's going on here on the so-called right, that, everyone seems to have an opinion and, they're weighing in on. My advice has always been to be extremely cautious. And the reason is
Amen.
this. All of these people have a 20-year relationship, much of which you don't know about. So all of these people were in bed together. All of these people have fallen out before. See, I've been around this for a long time. I can remember when Tucker Carlson and Trump fell out 8 years ago, and then were hugged up at the stands. I can remember when Megyn Kelly and Trump fell out. Then they, hugged up. I can remember when Trump said that Elon Musk uses drugs, and now they're back together again. The fact of the matter is, much of this is getting in fights and squabbles in public for reasons they tell us in public, but are motivated by personal relationships we have know nothing about.
We don't know.
And they
Have no
will
clue.
get back together again. So I caution everybody, if you want to, if this is the hill you want to die on, be
not me.
careful, because you just might. You just might. That's number one. And as far as Melania is concerned, first of all, her grace and class is so extraordinary. Anytime she steps out there, like they say in London, she never puts a foot wrong. But I will say this, and this is why I say always maintain a healthy amount of skepticism. Melania should have never had to come out there and say anything on her own behalf.
Yeah.
Where is the disclosures? Where are the exposures? We were promised that we were going to drain the swamp, and we were going to stop protecting child predators, and we are going to stop protecting the people who killed Martin Luther King. Allegedly, that was put out there. And what did we find out?
Oh, yeah.
Martin Luther King died, but nobody killed him. The people why are we protecting JFK's killer? What did we find out? Supposedly that was released. What did we find out? JFK died, but nobody killed him. Now we have Epstein. What did we find out? Some girls may have been hurt, but nobody hurt them because there are no disclosures. What about the man who was climbed down the roof and tried to kill Trump? Why doesn't anybody really know his name? Who put him up here? When did he buy the gun? What's his address? Where are the disclosures? Why are these people being protected? There is legitimate reason to look at the Trump administration and say, it is unfair to say we have been held hostage and captive by a deep state that is not allowing us to live out our constitutional creed because they have created a shadow government, and then nobody ever gets exposed and name gets spoken up to. So what I'm saying is be very careful, people. Be very careful, because like I said, these are personal squabbles, quite possibly, that everybody's getting involved with, and that's your right. I'm not let everybody do what they want to do, but be careful, because there's a whole lot in the background that can be happening, which is why they can make up and kiss and no problem. And you'll be still somewhere with your feelings and you're, feeling some kind of way on something you may not know about. And this is one thing that bothers me about the right. What has bothered me about the right is to see them react and be so reactive and so emotional. Makes me think there's very little difference between the right and the left in these situations, because they're acting exactly the same.
Yeah. Well
And
said,
Celeste,
sir.
it does affect your credibility. It does affect your credibility down the line. Once what you said, if things change or if something comes out that you hadn't thought through carefully, it will affect your credibility. And that's why I'm trying to be careful. So I ask anybody, if I say something, please examine what I say and correct me, challenge me. I love challenges.
It's
Let's do it
okay
now.
to say, I don't know. I don't know.
It's a great expression to say.
I don't have the best opinion on the Iran situation because I've said there's 1,000 years of context that I don't quite understand. There's a lot of things that I don't know. I can't say if we have been pressured. I don't know that. I don't know if we've not been pressured. Maybe there's 1,000 good reasons to go and help someone. Maybe there's 2 good reasons not to. We're rarely ever given enough information to make a good choice. So first of all, you have to understand almost everything you've told you know is rhetoric and propaganda. So there's very little good information, and most good information is information you go and you find yourself and then you verify in 3 to 5 different other places. Apart from that, there is a whole so-called 100-year history of a deep state that's supposed to have gotten the cover ripped off it, and we don't see a single thing happening. And that is fair to question.
Nobody even going to jail.
And Minister Farrakhan, I'm sorry, Mr. Denzel, you say that all the time. You keep asking, when is this one going to jail and when is that one going to jail? We personally know of enough wrongdoing, all these people who are getting this insider trading. I mean, we can't even get the Somali situation. The man, Nick Shirley, came and handed it to us on a platter. Where are those people? You mean to tell me nobody in Minnesota who's elected to anything or in a high position had anything to do with $9 billion getting blown up? You mean the California Railway, the express train to nowhere that was hundreds of $millions and has never, that horn ain't went toot toot because there is no train and there are no tracks. Nobody got paid off there. I mean, we don't seem to be able. And you know what? If it is true, Jeffrey Epstein was not a predator. He didn't harm anybody because apparently nobody got hurt. There are no names. Then come out and tell us we were wrong. Jeffrey Epstein was a good guy, and we apologize for what we said about him, and we'll all go away.
Crystal, what are your thoughts?
So let me say like what my sister said in the comments, my blood sister, my real sister. Trump is Queens, and we Queens people, we do not play. Okay? Let me start off with that. I am a Queens girl. You took the only reason why the Queens came out of me was because of Jesus Christ, because that Queens girl was serious. Okay? Trump is still working on the Jesus Christ part. Now, let me explain something to y'all. Shout out to PR. You know, I got to do that, AT. Shout out to PR.
Oh yeah, PR. Yeah, I thought you'd do in New York again. Yeah, the first guy you showed, great guy. Love the conversation with him. He's on TikTok. Great dude.
Yes. So I wanted to say real quick. The thing is, Trump is doing what others did not want to do. He called Candace Owens ugly. There's a reason why. Look at what Candace Owens has been saying about Erica Kirk this entire time. He decided, because he's who he is, he was going to get in on Candace himself. Because no one wants to defend poor Erica Kirk from this psycho, baddie, crazy, narcissistic woman. Because that is what Candace Owens is, a grift. I know, Minister Denzel, you don't want me to say it, but she is a grifter. She does what she does for some money. And we've watched it. We've been watching for months. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. You ain't nowhere. You just keep spinning to make more money. Okay? Number 2, he called out Tucker because Tucker is disgusting. Okay? He's trying to use the Bible to legitimate his rants. And every time he has been wrong. I have corrected him twice. I'm about to correct him a 3rd and a 4th time with his biblical illiterate behavior. Okay? Megyn Kelly, because she's trying to stay in cahoots with Candace and them, now she's demented up here. So she's talking crazy. Alex Jones now, he has his good parts, and I know someone I'm close to who worked with Trump in the past. And one thing they say about Trump, and I will agree with Celeste on this, is that Trump is a very forgiving person. He will go in on you. He will tear you down. He will dress you down the whole 9 yards. And then you come back and you talk to him.
I said he's an opportunist. When it's good for him, you good for him. When it's not, you not.
But what the person I know who worked with him said, he will dress you down, but he doesn't hold it. He's not sitting there holding it over you. He will move on. And then the next time you see him, he's cool with you, but he will dress you down. Trump has been quiet the entire time, and I want people, because listen. This is what happens when you move from the left and you move to the right. In my case, you go down the rabbit hole, and I've been going down this rabbit hole watching these people. And what y'all, the reason why Trump is reacting the way that he is, I know y'all said he said this and is going to bring in the left to go and check out their content. The left has been watching their content. That is why Michael, shout out to you, Michael, in the comments, can come in here and say that the midterms, that the right is about to be devoured during midterms. He will say that because they've been watching the Candace Owens, the Nick Fuentes, the Alex Jones, the Megyn Kellys, that are literally saying to people, the Trump administration is problematic. We need to get rid of them. Let Democrats win, and then we will start all over again. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Because the minute you give Democrats the power, they're not going to give it back again.
Right.
So I understand why Trump came out, because these people, I think all of them, maybe not Alex Jones. I'm gonna give Alex Jones a pass, but the rest of them, they're grifters, because you're just trying to go wherever you're going to make money. The fact you don't care what happens to the rest of the American citizens when you can fix your mouth and say, we are tired of MAGA, we are tired of Trump, we are the real America first. So let's make the Republicans lose and give Democrats the power again. You don't care about America first. You don't care about Americans by that statement alone. So when I say I understand why Trump did that, because at this point, we are so tired. I watch it every day. I'm always researching and I get so tired. And I'm like, why is no one saying anything? And he pulled them to the carpet. Amen. Because him being quiet, people think that he knows that he's wrong, and they're pointing out. That's what people are saying in the comments. I just want y'all to know, because I sit on their threads. I read all their stuff. This is literally what people, the Cantifas believe, the Tucker people, that's what they believe. They believe that Trump knows he's wrong. They're calling him out. That's why he's quiet. Nope. Today he said, nah, I'm going to let y'all know that you're wrong, because all of y'all are low IQ. And they are low IQ. If you hear the arguments that they have, like I said, I watch a lot of their stuff. It is trash. Their stuff is absolute trash. The fact that you have, well, I'll save that for gutter money. I'll save that part for gutter money. But I'm just saying, I understand why Trump did that. And I hate that Melania had to come out and do that. But what I love about Melania is that is a first lady of elegance and grace. Yes, and she is so articulate and put it all together and laid it down in the line. And she let everybody know, I am not one to mess with either. I am not the one or the two. And I appreciate that.
Amen.
Wise, you're muted.
You're mute.
I'll snap. AT, I'll give you the last word. We're keeping moving.
I just want to point this out to everyone down there. I agree with everything that was said. I especially agree with what Celeste said. I've been saying this since before Trump got elected. If Trump goes through his entire second presidency, the one we're in right now, and no one is arrested for the stuff on the Epstein list, if that swamp, we've talked about it, we've gotten hype about it, but nobody's in handcuffs, then I'm going to go ahead and call his presidency a failure. And I can say that because I've noticed something. I want to point it out. And a lot of y'all going to hate me for saying this. I know that's going to happen, but I'm going to stick to the truth regardless. I'm going to read some of these. They attacked him first, so he doesn't have to be nice to him. Okay. He was standing up for his wife. Trump's done so much greatness for our country while being put through so much BS. You can't change President Trump to please you. He's not here to care about those demons' feelings. New Yorkers are not known for being meek and quiet. Agreed, stop focusing on how he talks and start commenting on how he walks. Which is more important to you? Christ, your walk, and being aligned with your faith, or supporting Trump, MAGA, Make America Great Again, and being Republican? It's why I personally don't call myself a Republican. Oh, I vote that way, 100%, proudly so. But it's so important that I never get so blinded by trying to push back against the hate from the other side that I cannot call out what is objectively wrong by scripture. I get so hyped that no, I have to support him because everyone else is against him. He is human. I don't know if he's Christian. I don't know if his wife is Christian, but I know that I am. And I know that I'm proud of being a Christian. Scripture tells me, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building up others according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. If you're trying to take an argument as to why it is okay to call someone ugly and that's supposed to build them up, then you are blind by MAGA and you have lost sight of what you're supposed to do by faith. 2 Timothy 2. And the Lord's servant must not be quarrelsome, but he must be kind to everyone, able to teach, not resentful. Opponents must be gently instructed. And we'll talk about kind of what that means in the Coney Greek later on, right? If you could give me an argument on how this is supposed to teach, that there's no resentment here, then I'm with you 100%. Romans 12:14, bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. I agree with him calling people out wholeheartedly. Needs to happen 100%. I agree with his wife calling people out. I actually agree with even saying some of the names, because to Minister Danzel's point, Christ did it, right? I agree with that if it is applicable to building them up, pointing out something that other believers need to see. But if you're up here and you're like, no, Trump is great, he's the best in the entire world, he's the best president in my lifetime, I agree with you 100%, no question about that. But as a believer in Christ, if it even looks like my loyalty is to someone else besides him, I am wrong. I don't care how much they hate him, right? They're going to hate him anyways. They hate me. They hate Crystal. They hate Celeste. They hate Minister Danzel. They hate Brother Wise. Everybody loves Wise, but they hate the rest of us, okay? That's just the way life is. I don't need somebody to hop up here and say, no, AT is great, because if AT is wrong, then I'm wrong. Doesn't mean I can't be a leader. Doesn't mean I can't still do my show. Doesn't mean Trump can't be the president. Doesn't mean he's not doing great. But when we get to a point when we're saying, oh, no, he's fine, he's great, then I'm worried some of you are just going to blink and ignore the fact that there's some things that were promised that didn't happen if they don't happen. I'm worried that because you feel like your stake in the fight of Democrat versus Republican, left versus right, red versus blue, donkey versus elephant is so important to you that you will be unwilling to capitulate in any way at all whatsoever, no matter what is done. I love President Trump. I love his wife. I'm happy I voted for him. I'll vote for him again if I absolutely could. But I will also call out reality, because that is what I am called to do as a believer. So if you say that he's standing up for his wife, my question to you is that the go-to Uno card wild excuse? So you can do anything you want to, as long as you're standing up for your wife. If you're saying that you can't change President Trump, I'll remind you, I'm not trying to. I'm trying to be a good believer, amen, right? If you say he doesn't care about demons' feelings, then okay, that's fine. Do you know for a fact that they are a demon? If not, that's a really broad assertion. Let's be more accurate. I know New Yorkers are the way that they are, right? But they're not known for being meek and quiet. You know who else is known for being meek? Christians. All right. Let's stop having excuses for people. Let's hold everyone, myself, the minister, and everyone else included, to a standard. I'm still going to rock my Trump in Christ shirt today, as a matter of fact. Sure am, because I know it's going to upset somebody in town. I'm still going to do that. And you can also come up to me and say, how do you feel about the way he expressed something? I can say, look, yep, he's a New Yorker. And there's a lot of New Yorkers that need Christ too. All right. So just don't throw aside your faith in these moments of hypeness for the president. Support the president, respect him as Romans tells us to do, but support truth in Christ and that standard first. And then you will see how you can actually lead as a believer politically in this nation.
Absolutely. We'll read a couple super chats.
Amen.
Move in. Shout out to Sin $2 super chat says, Grandma said, pretty is as pretty does. Candace. Yeah. Shout out to Uncle Darnell, $20 super chat. Trump's opinions about people are being taken more serious than they need to be. At the core, he is mostly speaking truth when it comes to their actions. It's no use telling an 80-year-old man to change his habits. Yeah,
it is for salvation.
It definitely is for salvation. Do you think he was saying Candace is ugly in the physical or her behavior?
That's why I said what I said. It wasn't about her physical. It was her behavior.
He compared her with another person's face. He compared her.
It was. I disagree. When I read it, it looked like he was saying like she doesn't look. I'm gonna pull it up though. I'm just gonna check it out.
I know what he said, but he was comparing her to what's her name, the French man's wife. But he was saying Bridget Macron. What he was saying. He was pointing out Brigitte is carrying herself better than Candace. The way Candace is carrying, I'm telling y'all have to watch
it. It doesn't say that though. It says First Lady of France is far more beautiful woman than Candace. In fact, it's not even close. I think that, I mean, if we wanted to view it that way, we can, but we can't definitively say this is what he meant.
No,
can we go back over Trump's statement?
Y'all know my hearing. One at a time.
Go ahead, Crystal.
No, I was just saying, is beauty physical or is it beauty? Are we judging beauty?
Oh, I don't disagree, but do you know? Do you know? Is that how you're taking it? Or do we know that's what he meant? That's what I'm trying to say.
Nah, we don't know that.
No,
We don't know that. That's what I'm saying. Let's not
and-
jump to that
and
unless we
do
have
you
more
remember what he
information.
said about Mika Brzezinski? He said
Yeah.
she came over to him after he had a facelift. She was bleeding from the face. Rosie O'Donnell as a fat pig. Look, Trump again. Trump is not this. He will do what it takes. I love that about him. But you have to understand that sometimes doing what it takes means you're gonna take some hits in that. I think he said it because it was mean.
Yep.
And it was purposeful to say
there you go.
try and for whatever
There you go.
his reasons are. Same reason he said we're gonna tear down a whole civilization. Everybody knows we're gonna tear down, but it was purposeful to him for whatever
That's right.
ends he's trying to achieve. Trump is
The art of the
extremely
deal.
pragmatic. We think people look at those tweets and they think they're crazy. He knows exactly what he's saying.
Oh, I don't think he's crazy.
And why he's saying them, and they're to achieve an end, which is why we shouldn't get emotional on either side. I wasn't emotional when he said Mika Brzezinski was bleeding. I'm not emotional because Candace got ugly. She was beautiful 2 years ago. She's ugly today. Okay, that's fine. Next week, next year, she might be gorgeous again. Who knows? But if it'll work for him and it will help him achieve his end, he will say it and do it. Our question is he doing that on our behalf? Because we have a set of promises that he made. So if he's doing all of that to achieve the ends he promised us in exchange for our vote, this is what we're going to get. If he's doing it for that, fine. Like AT said, if we get to the end of this and we feel, and it wasn't done, AT said you can call the presidency a failure. It may be much worse than a failure. It may have been co-opted.
That's right.
That's a fair point.
That's right.
Shout out to Omega, been a member for 6 months. Anton talked about it with Myron on Room 9, Iran. All right, appreciate you, Omega. Shout out to Darnell, Uncle Darnell coming through, $2 super chat. Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.
And shout out to Rosa Jones coming through, $3 super chat. Says super conversation every morning. God bless. God bless you as well.
Thank you, Miss Jones.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, we'll be back with Gutter Bunny of the Week. Hey.
Gutter Bunny of the Week. Yeah. We bring the heat. Hey, hey. Hope it jumping out their feet. Hey, hey. It's Gutter Bunny of the Week. Hey, hey. Gutter Bunny of the Week. Yeah.
Hold up.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to Gutter Bunny of the Week, where we look at public figures whose behavior this week or every week is so low that we need to give them a spotlight because it's very self-serving. It's contrary to truth, loyalty, and common sense. And y'all, we have some doozies this week. So let's go through the nominees, and then after I will name our winner. So number one, we have the NATO chief, Mark Rutte. So he's the NATO secretary, NATO chief, in fact. This week, Rutte flew into the White House to lecture America about Ukraine and demand more U.S. money, more U.S. weapons, more U.S. commitment. And here's the problem. While he's begging at our door, NATO allies have been nowhere to be found when America needed them on Iran. There was a few of them that just didn't want to be involved. Iran, we all know, is arming terrorists, threatening our troops, chanting death to America. And NATO's collective response has been a shrug and a strongly worded statement from time to time. Not one major European ally said they were going to step up with real military economic pressure to back the United States. Yet, here comes Rutte, hat in hand, expecting American taxpayers to keep footing the bill for Europe's defense while they sit on the sidelines when it's our turn. Y'all, this isn't alliance. This is freeloading with a smile, like I said. They invite you to dinner, they hate you, but they expect you to pay every single time. America has carried NATO for decades. And when we face a real threat and the same people who want our blank check suddenly wants to go quiet, that's a problem. Rutte's visit wasn't diplomacy, it was actual gall. And that is why President Trump dressed him down in the White House. Next, we have Tucker Carlson. Now, y'all know how I feel about Tucker. Once, Tucker was a sharp voice against the establishment. Tucker this week went off the rails in ways that should alarm every Bible-believing Christian. He casually dropped an Antichrist reference that was reckless and inflammatory. If you saw the video that I did, you know why. Then he mangled the book of Esther, calling it a book of genocide, which clearly that is not true. But the real kicker was when Tucker declared that true Christians are supposed to be socialists, not capitalists. I want you to let that sink in. The Bible is very clear. God honors work, private property, personal responsibility, and generosity from the heart, not government coercion and wealth redistribution. Because at the end of the day, we're supposed to be cheerful givers, not someone taking our stuff and forcing us to give. Jesus never said, render unto Caesar so the government can take from your neighbor. That is not what he said. The early church practiced voluntary sharing, not state-mandated socialism. Tucker isn't just wrong. He's leading people astray by dressing up leftist economics in Christian clothing. And this isn't thoughtful commentary. This is theological malpractice coming from a man that millions trust. And when you twist scripture to push big government ideology, you've earned your spot in the gutter of the week. Tucker, you should know better. And this week you chose not to do better. Megan. Number 3, Megyn Kelly has been spiraling into full-blown Israel derangement syndrome. Yes, that's a new thing now. Israel derangement syndrome. Instead of standing with the only democracy in the Middle East fighting for its survival against Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran, she's been peddling narratives that blame Israel and downplay the evil they face. And then, shockingly, she turned her fire on President Trump. The same Trump who moved the embassy to Jerusalem, brokered the Abraham Accords, and delivered the strongest pro-Israel record in modern history. Attacking Trump while pushing anti-Israel talking points isn't journalism anymore. It's derangement. It's personal. It's betrayal of the America First principles she once claimed to champion. It is anti-biblical. So Megyn built her brand on being fearless and fair. This week, she was neither. When you let hatred for Trump blind you to the reality of radical Islamic terrorism and the biblical importance of standing with Israel, you've crossed into the gutter. Megyn Kelly, this week, you showed us exactly where you stand, and it is not with truth. Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene, number 4. This one hurts because MTG has been a warrior for conservative values, but this week she went ultra nuclear in the wrong direction. She publicly floated the 25th Amendment against President Trump, the very mechanism designed to remove a sitting president. She's actively working to turn Republicans and the American people against this administration after everything Trump has endured, lawfare, assassination attempts, 2 impeachments, and a stolen election aftermath, allegedly. One of his loudest former defenders is now trying to undermine him from within. This isn't principled disagreement. This is sabotage. Because we did see her out with the Code Pink people. Y'all remember the same Code Pink that went to Cuba and was throwing cookies at the children. This is the kind of infighting that destroys movements and hands victories to the left on a silver platter. Loyalty isn't blind, but loyalty does matter. When you call for the 25th Amendment against a man who delivered on his promises he made to this country, you've stopped being an ally and started being a part of the problem. MTG, this week you chose division over unity. And again, that is gutter behavior. So those are our 4 Gutter Bunny nominees this week. May I have a drum roll, please, to tell you who you all voted for? And the winner for Gutter Bunny of the Week goes to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Because Marjorie Taylor Greene decided that she even agrees with trying to convince people why they shouldn't vote for Republicans, conservatives. Even in the replacement of her seat, she was championing the Democrat over the Trump-endorsed candidate. And she had pie in her face when the Trump-endorsed candidate won in a landslide. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you are the Gutter Bunny of the Week. Shame on you, my dear. Shame on you. Y'all, that's all I have for you all. I will see you guys next week for Gutter Bunny of the Week.
The Bunny of the Week. Yeah. We loud, we bring the heat. Hey, hey. Hope it jumping out their feet. Hey, hey. It's Gutter Bunny of the Week. Hey. Got a bunny of the week.
There it is. Every time. Just enjoying himself. I'm telling you, he looks forward to Fridays.
He looks forward to the gutter bunny of the week. He looks forward to it.
I do.
It's just,
I like the debate that I have. Y'all don't get a chance to see this, but in the private chat, Minister Danzel and I like guess who we think it's going to be. We were both wrong.
I was actually shocked by who won.
I could have sworn yesterday, wasn't Tucker Carlson winning like midday yesterday?
Well, Tucker Carlson was winning, and Marjorie Taylor Greene took over because, again, all that she's been doing, people are seeing it. Like I said, it's an entire apparatus. That's why I said y'all have no. If you haven't, well, I know AT, you don't be paying attention 100%. If you understand what's actually going on, those people, the ones that Trump named and some others, are literally trying to divide the MAGA movement, and they're trying to give, and this is why I call all of them a grifter. They're grifters because they're literally trying to get people to vote for and let the Democrats win the midterms. That's dangerous. I don't know why anybody would even try to, even if you don't agree with what Trump is doing, I would not give power back to evil. And I just wanted to say this real quick. Spiritually, I know what's going on in the White House, and this is why Pam Bondi was removed. There are others that have to be removed. This is why there haven't been arrests. There haven't been arrests because there are people that, like we say, I said this Tuesday, people seem to think deep state swamp people only live on the left. No, the swamp people live on the right too. And within the Trump administration, you don't think that they put some swamp people within the Trump administration? If you don't think that, then I don't know what to tell you. But they put swamp people in the Trump administration. I know 5 of them, and I'm not going to say who they are, but I know 5 of them that is in the Trump administration, and there's probably more. So I just want y'all to be very aware that this is going to be it's not going to be a Trump thing. This is going to be an act of God to fix all of this situation.
You're right about that. And I don't doubt that they have traitors. God knows they had them in the first one, couldn't stop leaking. And I don't doubt that they probably have more in there now. But I do know that the president receives a daily briefing, an intelligence briefing. He has the ability to classify at will. He has plenary power, which means nobody can tell him what is classified and what is not. He and he alone determines that. In the same way he put out that tweet, he could grab one of them Jeffrey Epstein videos. He could take the intelligence he got on his own killer. He could go up there. He could go to the camera tomorrow morning and expose it if he wants to.
You and me, Celeste, we on the same sheet of music right there. You're absolutely correct.
You're absolutely right.
This is on him. This is not people not doing this for him. This is him not demanding that this be exposed. Now, he may have a good reason for that. I don't know. And I don't know everything. Maybe this isn't the right time. Maybe there's an order to this, and there are things that have to be accomplished before he can do that. So it'll be safe for the American citizens. Yeah. It'll be safe for other people in the world. The consequences of this kind of thing is huge. So I'm not going, oh, he's automatically wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm saying be careful if your answer to a complicated question is always simple. It's probably not. If that's the case, then you're probably wrong. And you, like everybody else, will be 10 years, 20 years from now, looking back going, I was on the wrong side of that.
Yeah.
Because again, this is a highly complex thing. And there's a lot of parts and a bunch of stuff I'm sure we don't know. So I can't say, oh, Trump's doing the wrong thing. He's not exposed. He may have reasons I know nothing about for why he's not doing it. But I also can say, hey, wait a second. I know I was promised this and I better get it.
That's the key.
Celeste, can I ask you a question? Because I always love the way you explain stuff. And I apologize. It's a quick one. Why is it, do you think, that in American society, for incredibly complex topics like education, finance, legislation, why is it that we just take the very scratched of the surface and we run with that? We attach emotions to it and our own name behind it, and yet we don't actually research to understand more. Why has that become the standard?
because we have been taught how to think from a government sponsored entity, which we call compulsory education, which made us give us no context for the information we receive. So basically, we receive information, so we feel knowledgeable. The problem with our information is it doesn't have any historical or scientific or anything else that could make that information meaningful. They took all of the parts that would make your information meaningful away. So this is why you can come up now and you can say men and women, there's no biological difference between men and women.
Right.
You know why you can say that? Because nobody knows what the real biology of men is. Nobody knows what the real, if you went to somebody, I had biology in 10th grade, and you asked them, tell me 5 things that are biologically or chemically different between men and women. An average 10th grader can't tell you what that is. So you can go to them and say that, and they can go, well,
Average
maybe
college student couldn't tell you.
right.
Yeah.
They can go, maybe they are, because they have no historical or scientific context in which to perceive that information. So they gave us information, or we have information, or we receive information that really we can't do anything with, because there's very little context in which we have to synthesize that information through. Information should go through a process. It should go through a synthesis process, and it can't go through that process because all this part is missing. So it just goes like this. It butts up against nothing.
I appreciate that, Celeste. Thank you.
This was my nominee for Gutter Bunny of the Week.
Hallelujah. They can't pray like me. Can't read the Bible like me. Can't prophesy like me. Can't pray words like me. No, can't shout like me. Can't say
You found it. I hope LJ was here to see it.
What is this? Honestly, where do y'all get this stuff from? This woman crip walking inside of the church hall? Really? Oh my goodness.
Heels.
I hope
It heals too. Thank you, Celeste. Right. So you know she's done it before. She got experience with those things.
You saw it.
Every building ain't a church, Celeste. Every
Is it
building
not
ain't a church.
ignorant or what, yo?
That's
Is
I'm
that not
talented
ignorant?
enough to join that group. Can't praise your Bible like me. I can do it. I can do that one.
hallelujah. They can't pray like me. Can't read the Bible like me. Can't prophesy like me. Can't pray words like me. No, can't shout like me.
I can do that.
Can't read your Bible like me. Can't pray like me. Oh my goodness. And they're having a good time too. They're having a great time on that
my
stage.
God, that was fabulous.
Can't read the Bible
And
like
the
me.
outfits. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh.
This is
Thank
your
you,
fault, isn't it,
LJ.
Crystal? This is your fault. I know
They
this
have
came
no
from
respect
Crystal.
for Jesus.
No, you heard what I said. I said thank you, LJ. That was a gift from
Oh, this
LJ.
was you know what? I don't even know if LJ was in the army, honestly. I really don't. She undercover. That's what it is.
LJ,
Thank
let
you.
me know when the auditions are. I mean, I might get try and go and I think I can do that.
Oh man, they thought they was jamming though. They
They really
thought they
did.
were jamming.
Ooh, what a way to end the program. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Shout out
We
to
are-
Uncle Daniel with the $5 super chat. Says only God and Trump can change his habits, and Trump needs to be willing to repent. Candace's attitude is ugly. And Uncle Darnell, once again, $5 super chat says Camden, Megan, Tucker, and more are under demonic influence.
No question. No question.
There you go. And with that being said, we're gonna get out of there. Look at that. Look at LJ.
How's she gonna show up for the first time for my show this morning and be like, no, I got street cred, dog. Hold up. Don't be like that. LJ, you know I love you. My battle buddy. We want to fight one of these days, though.
Yeah, she's like, I came to your show this morning. Come on now. Don't be like that.
I had somebody from Hawaii on my show this morning. You know how early you got to get up in Hawaii to be on the show?
Well, they're 6 hours. So at 7, well, they're probably just up from the night before. So
That's what I figured.
You know, you're
Yeah.
starting at 7. It's a 6-hour time difference. So it's what?
From the
1
East Coast,
o'clock?
6 hours?
Yeah, 6 hours from us.
Okay, that's not too
Depending on it's either 6 or 7 daylight saving time. So since we went up an hour, did we go up an hour or back an hour?
Spring forward, leap back.
We spring forward.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
spring forward. So it's 6 hours right now. Yeah. So it
Okay.
was just they were just staying up late.
I just
hanging out.
partying. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Came by, saw some Christian content, said, why not?
You know what? Why not?
Right.
So, hey, I ain't mad at him either. I ain't mad at him. But we're
Can I
gonna get
just
ready to
get
get up.
everybody to check out the Tucker video that I just did? This one was on where he called Trump the Antichrist. And so many people argue about Trump not putting his hand in the Bible, but I showed the biblical reference as to why he was right, why Trump was right for not putting his hand in the Bible, actually. And people don't know that.
Crystal,
So,
you're not supposed to swear on anything. But Crystal, is this the same conversation from last year about Trump being the Antichrist? Didn't we already do this? That's still
yeah,
coming out?
Tucker brought it back up. So I want
Recently?
people to check that. Yeah, he brought it up this
Oh,
week.
wow.
So I just wanted to, otherwise, I just want everybody to go check that out. And then this weekend, I will drop the MAGA Civil War and why God is against that too. So definitely check that out.
Hey, if you guys are not subscribed to Crystal Beyond Labels, please go over there and make sure you hit that subscribe button. It didn't cost you anything. And then you make sure you turn the notifications on so you do not miss. Actually, turn the notifications on to all ALL so you never miss an upload. Go do that. If you're not subscribed to the Garden Project Radio, if you're not willing to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, ooh-wee early, you can always catch the replay, but go subscribe. You can
appreciate
do that.
Wasp.
And slowly but surely, man, I know Minister Danzel's working on some things, and I know Celeste is working on some things. We're slowly but surely getting there. There. And then Celeste will be, should be off like a rocket ship. So
Celeste has an upcoming special. We're not going to really talk about too much till it gets closer, but she is going to be on the Garden Project Radio on Juneteenth. And I'm going to ask a couple questions. I'm going to let her go to town on that day. And it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
I'm going to consider it my practice for the view.
I had to call Celeste. I'll tell you, I laughed so hard afterwards because I called Celeste. And you never know how people feel about Juneteenth. Yeah, right. And so I told Celeste, like, hey, look, we have a show we're doing in the morning, Christian show, and I like to make sure we're doing education, not just faithfully, but you should know how to walk through the United States of America. I don't personally celebrate Juneteenth, but I want to see where you're coming from because, maybe she's like, hey, I like it. I support it. I can't remember how she worded her answer to that, but it was something that caught me off guard, which is rare. She said something. Celeste, please correct me if I'm wrong. She was like, oh, you know what? Celeste, what do you think about Juneteenth?
I said it's a fake made up holiday that I said Trump introduced it and Biden did it to try and split to get black voters. That's all in 2020. They were both trying to court black voters. And that's how they came up with this. Well, maybe if we give them an extra day off, they'll vote for me.
I was looking for like, oh, I like it. I don't like it. She went hard for no reason. So I can't wait for that conversation. I really can't. It's going to be a great one.
Love it.
People, hey, enjoy the free day off. It's there. Enjoy the day off. If you get it, enjoy it.
That's federal. That's a day off everyone, right?
Yeah. No, it's not.
It's not federal?
It is a federal holiday. Well,
they made it
federal,
better.
but it's an optional.
Is it a market holiday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an optional holiday.
I'm
it's
gonna
not
be on the
mandatory.
grill after AT.
Wise, I have some more text messages for you guys. You know how I would shock y'all. Please know it's all going to be real because there's somebody on X who is working with the administration because they're finding out all of the influences that are being paid by foreign interests to do what they're doing. So they're going after. They're looking at all of them that are pushing this,
and they should expose it.
That's right. 0 Hour is
use the news for a good reason, right? Put it out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to y'all as I get it because I subscribe so I can get all of the information. So I'll send it to y'all, and then you can have more content. We gonna put everybody on blast.
Chris, the only person I know, whenever something like negative, you can come at her with hate. Most people are like, "Oh, that's unfortunate," or they get mad. Crystal's like, "Yes, call me more names. I can't wait."
I really do. Yeah, my daddy said something. And I always agreed. I didn't understand this. He said, when you are truly walking with Christ, the world will hate you. And I used to say, Daddy, but I'm such a nice person. Everybody loves me. I have a great personality. And my dad was like, you don't understand. And now that I'm in it, I understand it. So I enjoy it. Please call me names. And please understand I come from a Caribbean family. So I've heard all kinds of stuff. So it's really hard to hurt my feelings. It's very hard to hurt my feelings.
In the words of Cat Williams, if you ain't got nobody to hate on, feel free to hate
on me. That's right.
I love it, man. Well, this has been a good week.
Great show, man.
You know,
Yeah.
Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah.
It's been a good week. We've had some great
Good.
shows. It's been a really,
Yes, we
really good
have.
week. I hope you guys in the chat has enjoyed the shows this week. Enjoyed the weekend. I am going to chill. I got these allergies. They got to go.
You've been traveling too. You got to rest, man.
I took some allergy medicine, and I feel like I'm getting drowsy. But you know, I appreciate you guys. One, pulling up and hanging out with us. Shout out to all the Blues. Shout out to everybody that supported the channel financially today. Thank you guys so much. Those that support via Cash App, and you know, also buy your brother a coffee. I appreciate you guys as well. Lord willing, we'll good. I can't even talk now.
Third time's the charm. You got it
this day. Goodness gracious. Yeah, the allergy medicine is kicking in. Goodness gracious. Wow. 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday. Be on the lookout for that. I believe we have Dave the Business Bully pulling up on Tuesday. I believe.
Amen.
He'll pull up and hang out with us on Tuesday. Shout out to Jen Boz coming through, $20 super chat. The Friday Tithe. Love you all. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
And God bless you as well. Thank you for supporting the channel this morning. But thank you guys, man. AT, Celeste, Crystal, Minister Danzel. Thank you guys for pulling up. You guys make this, y'all make this fun. So I actually look forward to it's not like pulling teeth, so it's you guys make this fun. We have a lot of fun, a lot of laughs.
Stop talking is the problem.
Yeah, you guys, y'all can get a little long-winded, but it's okay. It is okay. It is definitely okay. And as long as it is never going to get, I don't know if we're going to retire the clip this year. I think Pink Pants has got to stay for the year. You know what I'm saying? He's got to stay for the year.
Some more. We got to
get some more. We definitely got to get some more. You know what I'm saying?
Today, Celeste, what did I do to you today?
So any of my folks out in the chat, if you know of any clips, please send them my way. Please send them my way. We would love to use them. We talk about a lot of heavy topics here.
We do. We need some laughter.
It's good to break it up, with a little bit of laughter. And Nanny, I know you said it's getting old, but this is for you.
Hey, 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 hey. Foul, 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 foul. Hey, 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 hey.
Why? Why? I thought we were about to get out here. You had somebody crip walking on the stage in front of the lectern, and now we have this again. Come on now. Y'all have a great weekend. It's been so fun.
That was for Nanny. That wasn't for you, AT. That was for Nanny.
Yeah, that's Crystal.
And Nanny said, "Why?"
It don't feel good, does it, Nani?
Seriously?
I just want to say to the person in the chat who said if I could react to Nick Fuentes, I will be glad to do that, and I will. I got you. Y'all just message me, and I will react to whoever y'all tell me to react to.
Ooh, hold up.
Amen.
I like the sound of that. I'm looking
he's
I'm gonna pull up and go watch that one. I'm gonna watch that video. But we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much, man. And thank you guys in the chat, for pulling up and hanging out with us. Uncle Darnell said, with the $2 super chat, says, I got to get on the panel. Shoot me an email, Uncle Darnell. I'd love to have you on, man. I'd love to have you on. I told you I was going to get your clip out. The clip is posted. It's over 5,000 views right now. Uncle Darnell, I told you I was going to make you a star. It's happened. It is out. It came out last night. I was like, I got to make sure that I get this clip out because I didn't have time over the weekend last week because I was traveling and stuff. But I sat down yesterday. I was like, I'm getting that done. It's coming out. Wow. So shout out to you, Uncle Darnell, man. Enjoy your 15 seconds of fame. Just enjoy it. But yeah, Uncle Darnell, if you really want to pull up and you want to be a part of the panel one day, shoot me an email. I'd love to have you up. If you can hang out with us for the 2.5 hours, it seems like you do anyway. You're already here. So if you'd like to, come and be a part of it, man, shoot me a message. We'll make it happen in the near future. Amen. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Have Uncle Darnell pull up. We'll get a lot of content to clip from him because he came through and dropped bars last week. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yes, he did.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, it's being received well. It's being received very well, out there. So I'm glad that is the case, man. So shout out to Uncle Darnell. But enjoy the weekend, man. As Crystal would always say, get out there, touch some grass, get you some fresh air. touch some grass, get some fresh air, do something nice for somebody. How about that? You know,
Don't
spend a little
smoke
bit of
no
time in the
grass.
Word today. You know, yes, yeah, don't do that. But you know, do something nice, do something pleasant for someone.
One more thing real quick, Mars, I'm gonna drop, if you're in Georgia, if you're in Atlanta area, I'm gonna put a post up, and if you'd like to come to see Race Wars, I'll drop the link in there. It's gonna be a great movie. Vince Ellison and them will all be there. I'm dropping that link today, so please, you can get
When
a
is
ticket.
Is it today?
It's next Wednesday. It's next Wednesday. So I just want to make sure that people get on there and be able to get the tickets next Wednesday here in, if you live in Atlanta, Georgia, it's in the Sandy Springs area. Me and Celeste will be hugging again next week.
Oh, that's good.
Make sure, do me a favor, make sure they search people before they go into the audience.
No, that's right.
Listen, pat them down, man. You know, they ain't gonna like this movie. Pat them down.
I'll be careful now.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I just saw that Vince Everett Ellison was coming out with a new documentary. I just saw that the other day. I didn't realize that it was being released already, because normally he does a little longer runway. Oh, it's the pre-screening. Okay, got you. Okay, I was gonna say
You're both going. Both of y'all going to that, yeah?
Well, I don't tell my whereabouts, so I may or may not be there.
Girl.
Yeah,
of course, absolutely.
Smart.
Someone told me I can find my way to your front door off your bumper sticker. So yeah, be careful with that information.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That is awesome. I know normally, like I just saw the trailer for it the other day. I know he normally does a little longer runway before he actually drops the documentary. But you know, Vince Everett Ellison, man, he's been doing great work for a very long time. I don't know if you guys know this, but you know, he ran against Jim Clyburn out in South Carolina, you know, back in the day. Ran a good race but couldn't win. And the things that he said that he discovered from that race has really kind of helped shape him, you know, even more today. Because he's written some books about it. It's definitely motivated him for sure.
Yes.
About, you know, when he, you know, the challenges that he ran across, especially with the churches, you know, out there. It's really crazy. So, but if you haven't checked out anything from Vince Everett Ellison, I suggest you do, because I mean, that brother, he's on fire, and he's written some phenomenal books. Iron Triangle, 25 Lies, Crime Inc.
He wrote Crime Inc. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he wrote Crime Inc. Crime Inc.'s phenomenal. Vince Everett Ellison is that dude, man. He really is. Yeah. That Crime Inc. book. It's a great book. The 25 Lies is good. The Iron Triangle just really kind of ties everything together. Sheesh. Yeah, he's got some good work out there, man. He's got some good work.
So please feel free.
Is it how much are the tickets?
It's free.
Really? Wow, that's awesome, man.
Pat him
So-
down.
That's awesome.
Pat him
I'm
down.
gonna drop it. That's just, I'm gonna drop it. I was talking to April, so I'm gonna drop it in my community post. And if you're in the area and you want to come,
Yeah,
ahead.
send me the information so I can put it out there as well.
Please,
Okay.
yes.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you guys, man. Minister Danzel, thank you so much. Crystal and
My
AT
blessing.
and Celeste, man, thank you guys so much for pulling up and hanging out with me on this Friday, as always. Enjoy the weekend, touch some grass, get some fresh air, you know, do something nice for somebody, spend some time in the Word over the weekend. You got the time, do that as well. Lord willing, we'll be back here 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, Lord willing. And as always, man, keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you guys next time. Peace.
It is God who arms me with strength. Yeah, I'm battle ready. He trains my hands for battle. My heart stays steady. But thanks be to God, He gives us the victory. Through my Lord Jesus Christ, fear can't live in me. I was down to the dirt, red clay on my shoes, old pain in my shirt, oh so bruised. And the Lord hit my chest, kicked death from my breath, put power in my step.